Today is May something, 30th-ish. Yep. And doing a tournament report for the Star Wars CCG MPC Match Play Challenge that was held about a month ago. It was at the end of April, and the top 4 finished in early May. So just under a month ago it finished, and been a little bit busy, but wanted to go ahead and do this tournament report. Luckily, details don't get too fuzzy now with replays. So today we're going to dive into what decks I played, why, and how my games with them went. So for Dark Side, I was playing Map. Coming into this event, this was the first major event since the latest cards have been released, the latest set, which had things like the Dead Speak and Exegol Throne and Palpatine Emperor Returned, all helpers for this map objective. And I felt it's just clearly the strongest Dark Side deck. As we've talked about in other mediums, I think Dark post virtual set, whatever this is, let's look for number 14. Post V14, Dark is clearly in a better spot than Light. I think that's fairly universally agreed among all the majority of players in D&D. Dark, both sides have a lot of options. Dark has a lot of options, Light has a lot of options, but the Dark options are just generally stronger. And what that means is you can kind of get away with playing stuff off meta for Dark a little easier because Dark is stronger. It opens up the field a little bit more. And so that was a question coming into this event is, are people going to just go with Map, the strongest deck? Or are they going to play something unexpected for Dark because they don't need to play Map because other Dark Side decks are stronger or are strong as well and can beat Light Side. And we saw that actually. Charlie and Greg Shaw played ROPS for Dark Side. Certainly a strong Dark. I wouldn't call it one of the top handful of Dark, but because of how much better Dark is than Light, it's a very strong deck and certainly unexpected. Nobody's teching for ROPS coming into this event. That was sort of the situation with Dark. And I decided I'm going to go with Map. It's the strongest deck. I'm just going to play the strongest deck. There's a lot of questions coming into the event of what was going to emerge as the strongest Map build. One version that was popular early on after V14 was released on GEMP was a double system space version. I believe, or I know it was Bastion in playtesting. He had played a version of this, and then someone posted the list after the set was released and said, hey, here's the version Bastion was playing in playtesting to, get everyone started with a list or whatever. And it started the Dakar system, and as it's one, it's one location with I want that map, and then it used the zombie trooper effect, the one that plays them from Lost Pile. I don't know the name of it. How do you spell Exegol? It's on this card, right? EXE, not EXA. Oh no. I thought there was. What's the name of the system he downloads? Jeez. All right, let me just pull sort by set. Here we go. Set 14. Dark. Here we go. First order was just beginning. I call it the zombie trooper effect because they keep coming back from Lost Pile. Kamiji. Apparently, it's not the Exegol system. Kamiji So it started Dakar with its objective, and then after pulling Emperor turn one, it also pulled Kamiji, and so it had double systems, and then it only this one battleground site, Tunnel Village. So two battleground systems, one battleground site. Maybe played a little bit more space, but relied on Chiranu and Star Destroyers to get in a bunch of space drains, and then just kind of had a more token ground package to just hold the site down. So that version was popular on, and it started prepared defenses so that it could do the zombie trooper effect. That version was popular on Jump for a little bit. Then we started seeing versions that did started Starkiller Base and did the two battleground sites, and but it used prepared defenses. Again, it didn't use the old map starting effect and the You Know What I've Come For and shuttle. It used prepared defenses to start the zombie trooper effect. And its one system was Kamiji, so it would still download Kamiji, but it was a more ground heavy version with two Starkiller Base sites, just the one system. But it had the zombie trooper effect so that it could keep recurring those guys, and by consequence it didn't play Jakku in the landing site and stuff. But it was a more ground heavy version. And some of them only had the one Starkiller Base site, but it switched to using Starkiller Base and prepared defenses. And then and that version was pretty popular coming into the MPC. The version I preferred, you can see here on the screen, started, I think it was too big of there's too much of a parsec gap between Kamiji and Starkiller Base for your Star Destroyers to make it, which makes Starkiller Base just a huge liability with Tantive or a ship just deploying and moving over that has more hyperspeed than you do. And so I like the Starkiller Base for the activation. I like not using a bunch of extra cards on Accelerates and Bridge. I like having the Starkiller Base Drain site. I like Jakku as a system. The fact that they're capped there with Destiny without a resistance guy, and that you can shuttle. So I opted for You Know What I've Come start, which let me do the landing site and do the old Jakku, dope-held, or another cheap guy, but usually dope-held into the Jakku system. And then you just don't play the zombie trooper effect, and it's fine because I don't think it's that useful. So, and then other than that, it was just it's a fairly standard map that we've been playing for years, right? It's got the same, Emperor's new, but Doctory, Mara, Snoke, we'll get to Pride in a minute, PV, Phasma, Finn, Troopers, Hux, Kylo, Dopeheld, even Chiranu, Thrawn, Isard, those are all the same. The only difference in here is, the Emperor's new, and then Pride is new in V12, and he wasn't usually played much in map because he made Hux lost, and obviously Hux in his used pile pull was better than Pride, but some errata made him make Hux only forfeit -3, and now he does a thing with Emperor on table, and now you can pull Emperor right away. Attrition is +1, capped to +3 for each first order character here, and of course he counts himself. So he gets +3 usually to Battle Destiny, or to your total attrition. And the Dead Speak adds another +2 with Kylo, Pride, or Rey. So he a lot of times just adds +5 attrition, which is insane. So I got a couple copies of him. But otherwise, same character package. Lateral damage is the same. Dead Speak is new, which downloads Throne and Emperor Returned. It means you can play one less Starkiller Base site, and you get even one more activation because you get these two icons replace the Starkiller Base site icons, and you get the Emperor icon now. So you get one more activation than before when you were playing the two Starkiller Base sites, and you give up one less. So that's pretty huge. At the cost of no Alert My Star Destroyer for matching up your ships, which is not that big a deal because you pull Finalizer anyway, and you have a bunch of commands for your PV and Hux and whatever. So you basically don't get to match up Thrawn Chimera the way you used to. And to trade off that, you get +2 attrition against everyone. You get to generate +1, give up one less, and you get the Emperor card draw. So it's really a lot better. Close calls, Ellis, Gick, Barrier, commands. Overwhelmed, all very standard map for years. Ascents, Dark Strike, you were beaten, Trooper Assaults. The only difference in this versus what maps used to play is it used to play Gravity Shadow and to stop their movement in space, and now it's got a laser cannon battery, and they've shut down the main reactor. Laser cannon battery, of course, just helps shooting down stuff like Outrider, Tantive 4, things like that. Gravity Shadow just stops them, and you can miss. They've shut down the main reactor, doesn't miss. The downside, of course, you have to find both of them to work to be able to stop their movement instead of just one Gravity Shadow. Steadfast is really good to add it if it's alone. Equalize the icons to increase your drains, but very standard map at the time coming into the MPC. There wasn't quite a standard build. It wasn't sure whether you use prepared defenses, whether you use Exegol, whether you're doing two systems, that sort of thing. But I think this is the best version, and I think it's sort of settled out as that. I haven't seen a lot of map. I don't know if people are just worried you're playing too strong or they're worried about people gunning for it, but just since the MPC, I haven't necessarily seen a lot of map. This is what I ran for day one. Day one for light side, I wanted to beat map, and I also it's meta where Scum is really good, both CCT and Court, because Throne Room was hindered quite a bit with the errata, with the Walkling errata, and then Hitco just got hit a ton with a bunch of errata. So I decided to run There's Good in Him with a 12 card start, using Don't Tread on Me to draw 12 cards. I'm running There's Good in Him, and it's light mains. Hunt down is very tough. There was actually ended up being a lot of hunt down at the event. I wasn't anticipating much just because Dark has so many good options. Hunt down I don't think is one of those top ones, but I should have expected it because people like playing Hunt down for match play. It's very easy to play. It's very brainless. You put Vader down and you flip and you get Visage damage going. People seem to like the idea of Visage in match play, like eating away at their opponent, and they like the idea of Visage for differential, but Visage eats at you too. And I think the theory is if you're the higher seed, you pick light and you win with light by a bunch, and then you play your dark and you just eat them down with Visage and win the match. But the problem with that theory is, in an environment like this, is light is worse. So if you're picking to start with light side and then you lose, now your opponent has that same advantage in that they're like, if I can just keep you on the front side, I don't even have to go confront Vader. I can just go to a different site with my Jedi, flip you back, and just trade drains and Visage damage and eat you down. It's a double-edged sword. So I don't particularly like it for this event. I can see it in match play in general. It doesn't put a lot of cards out and it can do damage, but I wasn't expecting it. I don't think it was a great choice for this event. But that's obviously the main weakness of There's Good in Him. It folds to hunt down pretty bad, and they did release a virtual Chirpa's Hut that doesn't let your activation be capped, but you also can't generate more than 2 at non-battlegrounds, and they can't cap your objective turn 1 or whatever if they deploy an Imperial at a docking bay. So you can still generate your normal turn 1 force, but you give up the JCC and stuff. I don't know. I'm not a fan. So I decided to run this. I think it's good, obviously, against Scum decks. I think it's good against map. I've got a lot of good characters: Din, Jar Jar, some Jedi, Hera, Lando, EVP Leia, Luke. You start this Luke on table. Obi and Rey, Anakin, Padme. Draw their fire, sand, cap destinies. 2 resilience because you've got Qui-Gon, Obi, and 2 Ray. So you got 4 characters with the built-in sabers plus the Luke that starts on table. So double resilience. Spin we'll get to in a minute. And I'm going to try to come back to the Leia in a minute. And then, you know, some weapons protection, blaster deflection. I went with double clash, double sorry, because this just does a bunch of battle, either aggression damage or defensive. And I also have double Nabron. So against scum, against map, things like that, I can just move my guys around. I have lots of battle tricks. It's just very strong fighting. Grimtosh, Hujix, and Polar, so people don't try and get too greedy drawing up a bunch. Double Jedi Lev, because my only low destiny are some of the characters. Rey, Obi, Anakin, Qui-Gon, Ahsoka, Din. My only low destiny are characters. The rest is all pretty solid destiny besides the sorry. So double Jedi Lev. A see you around kid, because map's pretty strong and you end up activating a lot. You can use its secondary text if you need to. Sense recoil. I got a barrier canceller, a 3PO puller to go with your 3PO, so you can just cycle really quick, and then, you know, your activation. And then double Huntree Falcon. Let's talk about the sense recoil. I found that there is not many reacts to cancel in this meta, which is the big benefit of regular sense over a combo. This one cannot cancel reacts. Regular sense cancels reacts, but the only reacts in this meta, there aren't many ATST walkers with entanglements getting in errata, though we did see Teemo pull out Dark Deal walkers, or this deal is getting worse all the time walkers. In general, I was not expecting many walker reacts. So Greedo is about the only react in the meta. They should just be crushing scum anyway, so I'm not worried about a Greedo react. So I wanted the recoil in case I just, you know, end up with 12 cards in hand. Maybe I play some early activation, or I play a couple of things, put down a 3PO, and then I drop to 12, and I just don't have that great a hand. To be able to just recoil the whole thing and get a new one is pretty huge. So I went with that. And then for space, I went with double Falcon and double spin, because Falcon can spin for a 6, and if you can get someone on there that can draw another destiny, which is either a combo of Din and Jar Jar, or Din and them having an alien, Hera and them having an Imperial, either of your Landos or Leia. So, or a combo of Anakin Padme will get an extra attrition destiny, or Padme Leia. And then if you get something like Leia Lando, you're getting 3 destiny. But essentially, Lando and Leia, you've got 3 characters there that just straight give you a destiny, and then you got a couple contingent destinies, and then you got the spin. And the spin can even be good if they just don't put you on having a lot of space, and so they're just like, I put down Finalizer and Hux, and you're like, okay, I put down Falcon and spin for a 6. Put Finalizer in Lost Pile, because it's only immune less than 5 without PV, making it less than 8. And Hux is only forfeit 5. So you can literally just go Falcon spin and clear the whole thing if they don't put enough in space. But if they do put PV, then you're just like Falcon, Destiny Adder, spin, draw second destiny. You may not even need to spin, but I'm assuming you're going to be capped by either command or the Jakku system. So I went with double Falcon, double spin. Recoil can also help set up stuff like that. But that is it's a very efficient space package. The spins are high destiny, the Falcon's low, but lots of things to add. You can basically throw out a ship and a destiny dude and it adds up destiny to power, so you can get pretty high power with just a very small number of cards. You can clear out a lot of attrition. So I went with that in space. The EPP Leia, there's a lot of good Leias right now, but I went with EPP because I anticipated, so here's some of the choices. Let's see. Oh, I can just click Persona. That's cool. Leia. There's 2 pages. Yeah. There's a lot of good Leias right now. There actually was an article recently on the PC site about which Leia should you use. It did come out post MPC, so they do talk about EPP Leia. But generally, people liked General Leia or maybe Leia Rebel Princess. I haven't seen EPP in a while. I liked her because, one, she just automatically added that Destiny on the Falcon. Versus though this Leia also does, and I've seen her be popular too, and she's certainly a solid choice instead of EPP. However, people like, add in Leia of Alderaan, and so if they don't want their drains modified, you might use Princess Leia and Leia of Alderaan. However, I liked her weapon because, again, I was gunning for map, and weapons are great against map when they pile in with a stack of troopers. If you can just hit multiple of them and force them to lose multiple guys, they're going to run out quicker than you will. If you can efficiently trade, right? If you can trade one Jedi or one character that you resilience for 3 of theirs, you're gonna win. And Kylo's gonna cancel one of your. So if you swing and Kylo cancels it with an interrupt from hand, if you can at least still shoot a dude, that's pretty big. So I liked having the weapon. I won't TPP that. So those were my decks for day 1. If we go look at the bracket here, I had a bye round 1, and then I was facing Sam Tashima, aka Yoshi, for my first match. And let's load up that replay. So I opted to go with light side first, apparently. I don't. So I knew what Sam was playing from the lobby because I had the bye. I had seen, during the first round, I just went and wrote down the deck types for all my different opponents from the thing, and I saw that he had No Idea and Map, and I figured my There's Good in Him would crush his map, and then No Idea is kind of tricky sometimes for map, and so I knew my second game, if that was going to be kind of tricky, I'd rather play my stronger deck first. So I went with No Idea first. Let's speed this up. I do 12 card. He does very similar same start that I do, and I got a great opening hand. I didn't get JCC speak, but I did get a 3PO puller and Wisa. So I'm gonna have some activation. I've got a couple different characters here. I got a Gramtosh in case he decides to draw a bunch. So he pulls with Starkiller base and drops a Twix. Gives me up an early verify, and it was just a very standard deck there. Then he pulls Battle Order, so I would have to pay to drain there. And I go ahead and 3PO and draw a few. So I don't move Luke out here for a couple reasons. Hey, Key Control, how's it going? You're rating me right now when I am not playing auto chess at all. I'm doing a tournament report for a card game I play. That it's a Star Wars card game, and it is it's for a game that's been dead for like 20 years. It was popular back in the 90s when like Pokemon and Magic were popular. And then the company Decipher lost the license in 2001, and a hardcore group of us still play. And there's even a team of volunteers that put out new cards that you print out these little virtual slips to go over your old slip. But you can also play it online. Someone programmed the whole game. And it's been online the last year because of COVID. But there's an in-person tournament in July in Colorado. And maintenance, cool. I haven't looked at the patch notes. No, not 3 decks, 2 decks. You have a dark side deck and a light side deck every tournament. But yeah, we've been eagerly waiting to play in person again. This is a report from I'm showing replays of games that I played about a month ago for an online tournament to do a tournament report for it. So yeah, I haven't looked at the patch notes for auto chess, but I'm hoping they've done some stuff about pandas and shaman because they're annoying. Anyway, thanks for the raid, dude. Okay, where was I? So, I didn't move Luke out because I figured Luke's easy to clear alone. If he just drops like FN 2003 and any troopers and cancels his immunity and just clears Luke, yeah, it would set me up at a battleground site, but I didn't want him to just go ahead and clear Luke super early and me be left without him. So I just drew, and I drew a bunch because I had sense. I was like, if he has a Monarch, I'll just like, and I knew there was a speak, most likely a speak in there. Maybe not if I 3PO'd, but there might have been 2 in there. So I was drawing. Anyway, I wanted to draw for speak, and I could sense Monarch, and so I was like, I went ahead and drew to 13. And then I 3PO'd into it anyway. Oh, yay, shamans are getting nerfed. Good. I like to hear that. So I deploy my activation and pull battle planes, and now's when I go ahead and decide I want to move out Luke. So I throw some back up with him and draw a couple. And he had drawn up a bunch, and I go ahead and I Grimtosh him after he activates, and that was a mistake. My thinking, I'm guessing my thinking was, if I do it on my turn, then he might recycle and be able to pull some of those things from reserve. Like if he, I don't know what he would pull from reserve. If maybe he hasn't used his finalizer pull, I don't remember. And so maybe if he didn't use his finalizer pull, I was thinking I don't want to send it used on my turn, so that on his turn he can finalizer pull and deploy it. Or Jakku system. Maybe if he had to draw into his Jakku system. So I went ahead and what do you call it when a droid takes an alternate route? Oh boy, Bernanaz is here and he has the best dad jokes. A droid takes an alternate route. I feel like it's gonna have something to do with the word android or robot. I don't know. What do you call it, Bear? So he had to drop too many, and I guess I was thinking maybe Jakku system was in his hand, and if I put it used and he still has a guy to go pull it or something. I'm trying to slow him down. But the dumb part about doing it on his turn is, in anything really good, if he deploys a guy, he can just go bow, used pull it back. So I probably should have done it on my turn. But anyway, I do that, and it slows him down, and he grabs it, which means I go ahead and play my escape pod to get the Hujiks. Otherwise, I would have saved the escape pod and seen if he drew up above again, and then just grabbed Grimtosh again. You call it an R2 detour! Yes! A droid takes an alternate route. It is an R2 detour. Good one. Excellent. Excellent pun. So he still has in hand after the Grimtosh system and PV and finalizer, but I 3PO into my Han Chewie Falcon. So now I've got Falcon, Leia, and a spin. I've got everything I need to go. I just need to crack crack its immune less than 8, and because PV makes it less than 8. As long as I draw a Destiny 2 actually to go with my spin, so I can spin. If I draw a 2, that makes 8 total, and I clear the whole thing. So even drawing a sorry combo would clear it. And if I draw a 1, I've got Jedi 11 hand. If I draw a character, so basically any Destiny clears it. Here he does barrier the Falcon, and I grab it and I sense it, and he pulls a sack shield after. I drop Leia on board, and I battle, and I draw 4. I decided to draw first. He has no way to limit me. I guess... Oh, no, that was to power. I was like, he does have a way to limit me. Why did I draw? Jakku system obviously limits. So I drew a 4 to power, and then I spin for a 6 and draw a 4. So that'll clear the whole thing. And he draws a 4, which I'm immune to, so he has to stack a card on conflict. And now I'm just way ahead. I've taken out his main ship. I'm at a battleground site and system. He has nothing on table, and then I draw into my barrier canceller in another sense. So this is pretty cool. He drops shuttle and pulls Hux aboard. And right now, I assume his plan is to lateral damage the Falcon and then play Overwhelmed and put it used, because otherwise, why are you playing a Power 3 shuttle into my Falcon? So I'm like, I don't want him to have both lateral and overwhelmed in hand and do that, and it would set me back. I really want to hold this system. So after he deploys this, I play recoil and just give us both a new hand. And I had liked my hand, but I'm happy to just mess with him. So when that happens, he just pulls his saber and goes out. We talked about it later, and I don't remember what he said his explanation was. He had he didn't have the lateral overwhelmed or anything. I think he was, I think he was just going to put fodder on and try and battle and clear it. He was going to put Hux aboard, is what he said. He was going to put, or not Hux, but not PV. What's the dude? Pride. Yeah, hey, Chris Kelly. Rocking my Outrider Cup USA sweatshirt. I'm super looking forward to that event this year. USA versus Europe. Star Wars card throwdown. Actually, that was one of the compelling reasons I played in this event in the MPC, is I was like, it has Player of the Year points. I want to play in any event with Player of the Year points, because at this point I don't care about winning the Player of the Year, but I really want to accumulate points to make the Outrider Cup team because it's such a fun event. So after the recoil, he was going to throw down Pride, and he was going to get +5 attrition, and Leia only covers 6, and I think he maybe had like Chiranu and a command or something, or maybe Phasma and a trooper. I think he was going to get a second Destiny, and he was going to add 5 to attrition and basically clear the whole thing. And that's obviously big for him, because then I'm not draining for free and draining for 2 in space and whatever. And he could then land all that and just leave the system empty and come down later with Steadfast or whatever. But he was going to kill my Falcon with Pride, and so my recoil took that away. And I figured he's coming down with something. My guess was lateral overwhelmed, but he wasn't coming down with just a shuttle against this. So the recoil was very timely. And so at this point, I get free drains, and I'm just super far ahead. James excited for the Outrider Cup, yeah, and that's the fun thing about the event is it's fun if you're playing in it and strategizing and just playing against top level stuff, but it's also really fun for the community. I think watching, you're seeing games like Bastion against Chris Kelly, or you're seeing like Emil versus Justin Desai, and you just get these insanely high level games from just really good players, and then people commentate it, and so we just get like a love fest of just like insanely high level games, and that's so fun. So here I drop Rey and Ahsoka, and I clash his Kylo, and I stack sand. You are beaten's my character back, but I go ahead and battle and draw their fire damage retrieval in, and he has to stack a card to conflict and lose the shuttle N5. Luckily for him, he had that you were beaten, or of course it would have been much worse. He goes to sniper Ahsoka and gets her. So Kylo's still, of course, clashed. I go ahead and drop Simple Trick, so he's not going to get draw their fire stuff. He plays his own first strike, and so I go ahead and clash Phasma before battle, because I wouldn't be able to afford it in battle. Otherwise, I would have waited until he battled. But he drops another Trooper and a Pride, and so he's going to get some damage through here, first strike, and draw their fire. He's going to Trooper Assault. He's just way ahead in power, and of course I don't have a Hujix. I had recoiled my Hujix away, but I also didn't have one for first strike. I would have saved for first strike, I think, and not clashed if I had the Hujix. But so that is going to be hurt. I have to peel Rey and 5. So I do just peel a bunch. That's going to make the game closer, but still I'm draining for 4 to his 2. And my drains are free. And Phasma still clashed, and Kylo still clashed. So now I'm coming down against just Pride and 9s. And of course I get draw their fire and first strike retrieval. And I decline the first strike retrieval so that I have a force left to do stuff with if against first strike, or maintenance if I decide to keep Lando. Whatever. Draw my Hojix's death. I draw 1-0 for Battle Destiny. So he only has to lose a trooper and 2. If I had drawn 5-5, the game's about over here. So I just move him in. Kylo's coming off of his clashed, as is Phasma. They're both going to be back, so I just run with Qui-Gon. He's going to get draw their fire first strike damage, but I will go ahead and swing. I thought about not swinging and going to, it didn't matter. Because I don't have the force to resilience him, so I purposely didn't draw Destiny, but I just drain again, and in my turn got my diff pretty high. Let me catch on some comments. Yeah, Chris, that's a good point. It's not just Justin versus Immel. It's Justin with the backing of all the best USA players versus Immel with the backing of all the best Europe players. So it's top level Star Wars on steroids. That is a good way to put it. Yeah, it's fun. So he drains, and I lose 2 from hand, and he moves a dude over. I go ahead and recycle an interrupt, and then drain him low enough that he's not going to be able to pay to drain next turn. So he loses from life force. So I win game 1 by 26. That is a very healthy win. A lot went right for me. Obviously, first of all, he never challenged me over here. So first of all, opening hand, getting Boss Nass Chambers and 3PO, and then a couple turns later, drawing into JCC and getting my Falcon and Spin and Leia. I mean, that was the exact plan of, and it just executed perfectly. And then getting in some clash damage, and I did have to peel Rey in 5, so that was kind of the only bad thing. And it still, I won by 26. So it was basically happened exactly as planned versus map. And so then for my next game against him, knowing I'm up 26, is no idea. It's going to be hard for no idea to beat map by 26. No idea. This is not the right game. This is a Joker King game. Did I copy paste wrong from my replay history here? Let's see. Yoshi. No idea. Copy. Okay, let's try this. So he's got to beat me by 26. And that will be difficult for him, I think. Rey is his resistance agent. And I do my standard start. He's got 10-man Insurrection and Walkling. I pull Finalizer. And I pull my Starkiller base site and my Twix. I decide to drop Emperor because I have enough force. And then I just save a couple. I got a lot of space in hand, not really much ground. Isart obviously is not ground fighting. She's, for spies and going to their Twix. But space card, space card, space card, space card, space card. Maybe Hux can go on the ground, but Pride can go either. But I've got one trooper. I've got an overwhelmed. So I'm very set up for space stuff, but not much else. So he just goes a naked Tanith thinking I'm not. Next turn I'm going to activate 14. I could drop the Finalizer for 13 and 1 to battle, and but he's got 2 saved. He probably has a barrier. He feels pretty safe doing that. So I just draw a bunch. I'm like, whatever. My system wasn't in there. I don't have much ground stuff. I don't have Kylo. I'm just like, whatever. I'm gonna draw. You probably don't play Grimtosh, but if you do, I've got a sense. So I'll just draw and save 8. So he drops another ship from reserve, and drops Jaren Webb and Leia's transport with Rey, and she's gonna get a draw. So he just stacks his system, and I don't really care because I'm playing for diff. I'm playing not to lose by 26. So if he has to deploy a lot and then I go to my other system, I'm fine with that. So I drew drop Finalizer with Chiranu, Hux to get a used pull into Kylo. And then I go ahead and drop Snoke and get Mara. And I drop Pride. And I'm thinking, okay, he's got 12 in hand. He can come down and attack them, but he probably won't overflow them a ton. I wanted to draw out more characters. Wanted to be like, let's just get stuff going, and then I can attack into you with Kylo and Trooper and Mara and stuff. So he does have a lot of characters. He drops a whole heap of them, including using combined fleet action for a vehicle. So he battles. He gets 20 power and Destiny to power. He goes to Jedi Love Luke into hand, and I sense, because I don't want that ping retrieval starting to keep him in the match. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. And when he verified his reserve, both Lukes were in there. So he drew 1-1. So I know he's not getting ping retrieval going. I wanted to sense that. So I'm down by 12. So I opt to lose Snoke and then peel 4 instead of losing Pride. And you'll see why in just a minute. So he moves the dude over. And my turn, this is Dark Side turn 4. I go ahead and drain for a couple. And then I initiate a battle. And I decline my Destiny and peeled 28 cards. He is right now at 19 in life force. Got any Star Wars jokes? I mean, I don't, but I can think of some like this. Who is the loneliest man in the universe? Han, because he's always solo. So they're not going to be good if you're going to make me come up with jokes. Let's see. So, yeah, so this game, I wasn't trying to win. So once he deployed enough stuff there, that turn onto Snoke, like I could have lost Snoke and Pride and no cards and then come back and gone like Kylo and Mara and Phasma and Trooper and battled into his stack and traded and blah, blah, blah. Or, gone over, I'm going to go drain over here and... but I looked and I was like, he was at like 21 or something, and I had won by 26. He was not going to be able to get 5 cards back into his deck. And I was like, I don't want to give you a chance to walkling and 10 min retrieve and get Luke out and retrieve. And I also just don't want to think and have to just grind you down so you win by 10 or whatever, or maybe I win or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, I was like, I'll just lose Snoke, peel 5, and then battle and peel another 30 and just scoop, basically. You're not allowed to scoop in match play, so essentially I just battled into him and he won by 19. Pretty, not a super interesting game in terms of you don't actually get to see it play out map versus no idea. But for match play, just a good way to end the match and advance. So my next games were against Joker King, and Joker King had Watch Your Step for light side versus my map. So we have, again, a fairly standard start for me, and then for him, he did Walkling and Squadron, which are normal, but Farm card is normally the other card. Insurrection is not common, but when I see that, I know my Ellis is a dead card, and I'm thinking, he's going to pull Docking Bays. It could be a Palace Raider version. A lot of times Palace Raiders like to use Insurrection Aim High to pull another Tatooine Docking Bay or two and drain and react and stuff. So other than that, I'm not really sure what to expect. So I just pull my Finalizer, and I got my system in hand already. do my standard. I'm going to pull Emperor, pull my Twix, pull my Star Killer base site, drop my system, and just draw a few. I'm going to have plenty of force next turn, so he also just draws, stops at 12, saves 6, so just feeling each other out. How many stormtroopers did it take to shoot out a light bulb? Just one, as long as he's not aiming at it. Yes, that's a good point. I was gonna say like there's no amount that that can do it, but yeah, as long as he's not aiming at it, or all you need to do is put stormtrooper armor on the light bulb and then just shoot anywhere near it, and it'll get shot out because that armor is just like useless. What's the point of wearing it when they go down anytime they're hit anywhere? So I drop Shuttle, which pulls Kylo and gets me a use pile pull, and draw a bunch more. Save some force. So he goes for a he plays a tunnel, and I grab. He drops Milos and Wedge, Luke and Lando, and he goes for a pretty neat trick here to blow out my Shuttle. Is he swaps Lando for. He uses Lando to swap for Blastador Kid, and he excludes my Kylo. But he forgot that he also excludes his own Lando because he's greater than ability 2. So it was just Wedge versus my Shuttle. So I'm only have to peel 2. That's not bad at all. If he'd had another ability 2 Smuggler, and so that he was like power 4 and 2 Destiny versus my 0, forfeit 5, I'd be losing 2 Destiny minus 1. But instead I just peeled 2. So not too bad. But now I know I'm going to have to play around that. And he moves away, which flips him back. So now he's kind of set back because he went for that as his play. And he's sort of spent his... He's down to 5 cards in hand. He kind of shot his load there, and that was his big plan. And forgot Lando getting excluded. Forgetting that meant he had to consolidate back. Because like if I or beaten Lando and then I just like beat up on Wedge, he's in trouble. He can do Blast. He cannot afford Blastador Kid from Lost once he moved because it costs 1+1 from the shield. So right now he can't do it. He could do it if he stayed, but he didn't want to risk, whatever, a bunch of troopers on Wedge, say, and Wedge getting overflowed, Blastador not excluding them, and so he moved away. That flipped him back, but now he's really low on cards. He doesn't have any space established. He does. His good upside is he's got his agent out, so I won't be able to flip. But I go ahead and pay to drain, and he top decks a couple characters. And I know Escape You were beaten into hand, so that's nice. I go ahead and drop my ship with PV aboard and Hux, so I get a use pile pull. And then I move it over to Tatooine and fly the shuttle up because I really did not want to have that happen again. I was worried. Now that it's in Lost Pile, he could come down with like Lazlomi and Elors and stupid stuff and just Blastador Kid from Lost Pile and blow out that shuttle. I don't have a Gick in hand or anything, so I was well aware that was a possibility at this point. With that in Lost Pile, so I went ahead and just put the shuttle on there. So he drains for a couple. I lose the steadfast, so now I'm out of ships. Like if he can spread in space and run around, and I don't have a lot, but he doesn't even have Kessel out or anything. I pull a trooper with Hux, and I drain for 2 and 1. And then I go ahead and say, all right, let's get some stuff going in here. I drop Snoke and Pride and a bunch of troopers. And I start pulling space stuff. Actually, I think one of my first use pile pulls, I think with Kylo, was the laser cannon battery. And now my another use pile pull, I did something with Hux. I don't remember, maybe Snoke, and then another one was shut down the mini reactor. So I've used 2 of my use pile pulls on space stuff and have not obviously needed it to this point. But so I go ahead and battle, and I use Trooper Assault, and I shoot at Lando and miss, but I play to add a Destiny, and I'm going to add +5 to my attrition, and so I draw a total battle Destiny 10 +5 attrition is 15. So that'll clear out a bunch of stuff, and I just lose my pride. And he loses Luke. And that lets me flip, and I stack my force push from hand. So now he goes over to space. He goes to Corellia for cheap. Get some guys aboard. And I pull out Chiranu with a command. Because he grabbed Trooper Assault. So I activate. I drain for 2 and 1. And I know he's going to be doing Blastador Kids from Lost Pile. But I don't want him to swap Lando. I saw one was in his reserve. So I decided to go ahead and shoot Lando. Because I don't want him to Lando swap for it. And then also be able to play it from Lost Pile again. Along with the one that's already in Lost Pile. So I decided to just get rid of Lando. And stack that sniper with my objective. Drop Chiranu aboard. And then go ahead and fight. Make him lose a Snoke ping. And he does play the Blastador Kid from Lost. And I click to move Dopald out. And then I'm like, wait, that was not what I intended. So revert that back. And he kindly lets me. So he drains and drops Luke over there. And gets wild card out so that he can spread in space. I believe he moves over to Starkiller Base right here. He does. So he's like, all right, Joe's draining for 3. He wants to up the pressure. Now he's draining for 5. However, Luke has no immunity. So I'm like, anything can just go kill Luke. That's fine. So I go ahead and drain for 2 and 1. And then I drop Isard on Luke. I obviously have the firepower to go do more, but he's got the redraw. I didn't want to have to save extra in reserve, and I want to save them in case I really need to come down with something big. In case I need Mara, Doctor E, or Beaten. If he goes somewhere, I want to have the firepower, and just a Luke alone with no immunity does nothing. So I'm like, that's fine. I'll just go kill him with random scrubs in my hand. So he makes me redraw, and Luke dies. He opts not to draw here because he's thinking about trying to beat me up. So when he opts not to draw, I'm like, uh-oh, maybe he does have something good here, and all I really have is a close call, but that's okay. So he plays it could be worse than the Snoke damage. I go ahead and play Trooper Assault in case he doesn't have the Hujix, but and then I make his Destiny -3. Again, I have an extra. I get to retrieve a Trooper. And he does play the Hujix. And I stack the close call. So I'm just playing pretty safe here. So he drops Luke again to flip me back. And Leslomi. At this point, I think he realized he should have just drawn Destiny and cleared something. Because Luke can't deploy into them. So you're only doing these smugglers. But at this point, it's kind of ugly for him. I had Coward out, so he couldn't even drain at Starkiller Base. He would have had to pay 3 to drain for 1 at Corellia, which he didn't bother. So right now, he's trying to get back into it by getting stuff going, but I'm just going and killing anything he does. So I drain 2, 2, 1, 1. Do 6 more damage, and we're playing for diff at this point. I drop Mara and Dr. E. You are beaten his Luke. He does not have force for that Hujix from Lost Pile, so I swing at Han and hit him, and I use the I have Dr. E. I don't even need to use a sniper. I use Dr. E to operate, and I draw Destiny, and he's got to lose Leslomi and peel 9, which he does. His turn, he drains 1 and 2, which I just lose it all from hand. And I never even needed that laser cannon battery, shut down the mini reactor, and then he draws his last card. Hayes pointed out I could have moved the finalizer and then moved the shuttle in front of this and blocked that drain and had 2 less cards in Lost Pile, and they would have been in my hand in case it went to a Lost Pile tiebreaker. So little things like that can make a difference. This game just went all my way. other than, you know, he messed up the beatdown on the shuttle. He should have been a little more patient with that. And then he just couldn't get out any space because he had to I kept forcing him to deal with ground stuff, and he finally got out space. But what, a drain 1, he wasn't at Kessel. But if he had been at Kessel, I would have just been chasing in space. So and I would have gone laser cannon battery, shut down the main reactor, battle. Like, so the fact that, I mean, here's how you can tell it went bad. He plays 2 Kessel runs in there, not just a standard one, but he never deployed Kessel. He lost it from hand at one point to a drain, purposefully. So a lot of stuff went right there, and I won by 17. So my next game against Joker King was an interesting one. He is playing a... There is good in him, or I'm playing there's good in him. He is playing this deal is getting worse all the time. And he starts with Battle Order First Strike, which is kind of scary. Often indicates beatdown. But I get a great hand. I get 3PO Puller, Speak, and Wisa. So I'm going to have tons of activation. So he gets free executor effect and drops out executor. As soon as he drops strategic, I know this is a trooper version. And with this, probably trooper beatdown. Before, I was thinking maybe it's more like Teemo's ATSD version, though it's weird to start this instead of like Aerotech. But then once he played strategic, I was like, okay, he's going to have a bunch of troopers. That's could be scary. So on my turn, I forgot. I didn't realize he had battle order out, so I went to drain, and then it cost me 3, and I was like, oh shoot, do you mind if I don't do that? You know, that's one of those. It's obviously not a misclick, me clicking to drain. I just forgot about that, and he could have held me to paying 3, but it's also one of those, like, it wouldn't happen in real life, right? Like, real life, I'd point to it and I'd say drain 1, and he'd go, oh, you have to pay 3, and I'd go, oh shoot, never mind, and I would just not actually initiate it because I would not have satisfied the initiation costs of paying 3. And so in real life, I wouldn't have actually initiated it until I've paid the 3, and so it wouldn't happen. So it's kind of one of those things where it is the nice thing to do to say, like, okay, yeah, like, you clearly you would not have initiated, and in real life I can't force you to pay 3, so we can revert that. And of course Joker King is nice enough to do that, but that was silly on my part for getting that. So I play 3PO, and I played Speak, and there was no JCC in there, which is going to be super annoying in a minute, as you will see. But I go ahead and play 3PO anyway, and move Luke out because I had 10 force, and I was hoping it wasn't in those 3 cards. I was hoping it was in the other 7, the Jedi Council Chamber. So I draw a bunch, and I draw it all, and I don't get it. So it was in those 3, and I'm like, oh, that's annoying because I have Spin, Falcon, and Lando, and so I can clear this thing out if I can just activate enough. So maybe I'm going to slow this down. I do some crazy tracking here in the first few turns. I think I just 3PO to 6, and I know that it's 34 cards down. And so I activate 12. He captures Luke and moves over to the docking bay. But I'm basically 3 turns away from that 6, activating 12. Whereas if I was at 15, I'd be 2 turns away with 3PO taking cards off the top and him potentially draining. But I only have 9 force here, and I get Jar Jar. So he drops out, and he puts Vader on board. He has enough forfeit now to cover a Falcon, but I've now got, I've only got 13 in reserve, so now I've got the 6 tracked, but I wasn't able to deploy. Like last turn, I probably would have gone for it with Han, Falcon, that sort of stuff. Anyway, I don't know. And then I stack JCC on sand, which is annoying. Right here, I 3PO, and he just puts a bunch more fodder on there. He's like, he doesn't have to do anything until I do, because he can just pay to drain 1. There's no Chirnu. Pay to drain 1, and I have doing nothing. So so I go ahead and I drop Qui-Gon and Din and Jar Jar and say, and Rey and say, and Ahsoka. I'm like, I'm worried. So, he gave up a Verify, and I saw like 4 Dark Jedi presence. So I'm worried he's just going to go like, 80 power with Dark Jedi and a bunch of troopers and trooper assault and Dark Jedi presence. And so I deployed just a ton of stuff. I'm also hoping to entice him down to the ground so that I can go up to space. So he drops some dudes in an occupation, and then shuttles down to Sidious and moves over. And so right now I'm in a tough spot. I had won the first game. What did I say? Like 17. But I'm going to be doing essentially no damage with strategic, and he's draining 1/1 and occupation for 1. So he's doing 3 to my, I guess, getting him down a card with strategic, but right now he's at 20 in life force and 10 in hand, and I'm like, I need to somehow make him peel 14 to win this match. And how am I going to do 14 damage? So he drains. I Grimtoshed and hit nothing. He had a bunch of different ones. That was annoying. I get an extra spin because I'm like, if we're gonna fight, and I'm gonna do some spinning. I'm tracking some 6s right now. If I can clear out Vader and Piet and whatever. So this turn is where I only activate 2. And I think on Verifies, I saw that he had no... On Verifies, I saw he had no commands. So the 6 is mainly just because I got to crack that 12. So I draw a 6, and I spin for a 6, which he senses, and I sense. Oh, and that's why I drew the 6 first. You'll note if I had spun first, and then I drew the... If I spun first... and he senses it, and I had seen some senses on Verify. If I spin and he senses the spin, then I draw my 6 as a sense destiny, which succeeds, but now I don't get my 6 that I needed. So I drew the 6 first and then spun so that I could get that 6 for destiny. So I sense his sense, and he draws a 3. So I win the battle and stack a card, and he loses Vader and Piet. But now he's going to be able to shuttle up enough forfeit. He knows my one trick was used, basically. So he gets Phasma on board and a trooper and a Barak, and he shuttles up some more guys. So he's got tons of forfeit now with arrest order and stuff. And then he cancels my drain again. But I'm making him deploy cards. Right now he is at 18. And I won by 17, so he's still up 1, but he has 7 cards left. So I got to make him lose or deploy 7 more. I drop Lando on board, so now I'm going to get 3 destiny. And I just don't battle because I want to run him through strategic and make him deploy stuff. So he drains. Oh, he's draining for 2 and occupy for 1, so he's doing 3. He drops Dooku over there because he wants to get some more damage going. He moves over to Chief Chirpa's hut. So he's now doing 5 to my drain canceled. And I'm down to 23 total hand and life. So you see around, kid, and he grabs it. And I go ahead and recoil. Why did I don't know what I'm doing here. Maybe Lando was my only character and he's on board. No, I had EVP Leia. I don't know what I'm doing. I forget why. Maybe I was hoping to recoil. He only had like 5 cards in hand, and I was hoping to recoil away a trooper, but it didn't work. So I Jedi Lev Luke into hand and drop him on an Imperial, so he's going to have to start losing to my objective. And I 3PO into Leia, and I end my turn. So he's draining for 2 and 1 for occupation, so he does 5 damage, and I'm just trying to eke him down with the objective now. But he has another Vader, so that's no good. Now I need to somehow do 4 damage. I think he should have just stayed there. But so I drop Yoda and Leia and use Sand to get back an extra card and draw a track to 6. He has 3 Vaders in there, which is crazy. He's immune, but he has to stack a card on Conflict. So right now, I know one out is if I can stack 3 on Conflict, then I can turn Vader with a 6. So that's my other out to winning this game right now is like if I can win another battle. I'm not going to win on the ground, but if I can in space, because right now I get 3 Battle Destinies plus 1 to power. So if I can draw 4 High Destinies and just win a space battle, then I could turn Vader with a 6. So I've got another out going on here. All he does is the 1 occupation damage. And right here, so we battle, and I draw a 6, but he draws a 5/3. And then I draw another 6, 5, 2. So I win the battle 24-27, and then Barak draws a 5. And so now I don't win the battle. I lose it 22-24. And I was like, if he had drawn slightly worse, he drew 5/3/5. If he had drawn slightly worse, I win that battle, and then I'm going to turn Vader. But, of course, he battles here, and he does a Dark Jedi Presence, which I sense, and peel the Do or Do Not. And I go ahead, since I didn't win that battle, I swing at Vader. If I had won that battle, I would have left Vader alone, and then turned Vader the next turn with my skip bot combo that's at the bottom of my use power right now. I would have just activated all but 1 and then turned Vader. But since I didn't win that space battle, I go ahead and swing at Vader so that I can get some objective damage through as long as there's an Imperial left to capture Luke. So we just trade some swings. I want to clear off his Maul that's adding 1 to drains and letting him swing, and he blanks Din's text, and I draw a couple Battle Destiny. So Luke rallies, but then he's going to get captured again. And he is at 18, but 1 in hand life after he just lost 2 to I Can Save Him. So he was at 3. I think he might have been able to win the game win the whole match if he had just not battled there, and if he had left Vader another turn and not peeled those 2 and stayed alive just a bit longer. I don't know, maybe not. It would have been really close, but I tracked Draw Their Fire that I drew last turn so that I can get some more damage in. So I move Yoda over and land the Falcon. But basically, I was like, I just need to last so that he loses to my objective a couple more. So he drains for 1 and does 1 occupation damage. And then he battles because he doesn't have much else to do. So I just decline the swings. Oh, so here my clock is really low because I had been thinking all game. I had been tracking a bunch, and I'd been thinking, how do I win this? How do I get him below 17? So my clock is really low here. I think under a minute. So I'm just hitting pass like on every action. So like after I landed the Falcon, I think I exited. Oh, right here. So after I landed the here in this battle, I'm hitting pass. So like I obviously, if I have unlimited time here, I swing with both of these sabers, but I don't want to take the time to click, swing, draw the destinies, blah blah blah. So I'm just hitting pass. I don't care about that. I just want him to lose 2 to the stupid objective. So Luke, he forfeits a dude who's having Luke, and I have him rally to the site so that he then immediately gets captured again. But I accidentally click on the Falcon, and so Luke rallies to inside the Falcon. But then it didn't matter. He's captured again. He couldn't forfeit all of his Imperials, and so he goes ahead and shuttles a bunch more in the way. I'm just clicking pass. Like let's. So here he loses 2 more of the objective. He's down to 14. I activate. I drain 1. And again, I have the option to to put draw their fire out and do more damage. He's down below what I need. He drains occupation. All right, and then he loses 2 to there's no try, and then I run out of time. So right now I'm at 5, and he's at 14 with none in hand, and I won the previous one by 17. So I run out of time, but he only has 14. If I have this last turn, I'd probably go pay 3 to drain, play draw their fire, battle in space, battle here, and do 3 more damage and get him down to like 11. But that's the match. It was a stressful game, trying to not get beat down for a huge overflow. And when I was getting no damage through and he was draining with Maul and occupation and he was just canceling all my drains, it was looking like he could win by 18 to 20-ish. But I was able to force him to deploy enough by going to space that he had to then play a bunch of guys up there. And that, I mean, there was the one turn where I said I need to get him down 14 more cards because he has 10 in hand and he's at 20 in life force. So he's at 30 and I got him to get him to 16 below my 17 win. And how am I going to do 14 more cards? And then the next turn, it was only 7 because he had deployed a bunch of guys. So that was pretty big. That helped me advance and win the match. But it was a very narrow victory overall in the match. So at this point, let's look at the bracket. At this point, I had beaten Sam, I had beaten Joker King, Chris Hull. Oh, and I'm playing PMJ next, who had a great run. He took out Charlie and then Vic, who had taken out JJD. So my 2 and 3 seeds, JJD was taken out by Vikram, and Charlie was taken out by Pat, and then Pat beat Vikram to make to the top 8. So then playing against PMJ, he was playing AOBS for Darkside, and I'm just super happy with that because I'm like, you can't go Imperial here. The only Imperial you have is Emperor. You'd have to use all 5 of your turn 1 force, and then you don't get Shadows pings because he's not on Coruscant. And I'd move over and you'd start taking pings to my objective, which if you get out Decree, it's only 1, but if not, it's 2, and it's like, it's awful to put the Emperor there. So I'm totally happy with this matchup. And then other than that, it's just Aliens where I'm running double clash, double sorry. He'll have imbalanced combo, and then I've got senses to match his. I've got Falcon to take the system if and when he puts a ship there. I got double Nabrin, and then my opening hand again. I've got Boss Nass Chambers, Speak, and 3PO pullers. So tons of activation, just everything you'd want. So I pull 3PO. I don't know why I'm not pulling the battle planes. Oh, it's already in hand. I have both battle planes and Boss Nass Chambers in hands. So he gets out his Twix and some sights and Vigo, and I play my. I use my Wisa there to, even though I knew I wasn't going to hit anything, just to check that my thing was in there and not waste my speak pull like last game. So it was in there, JCC. So I pull that out and I move Luke out, which flips him back. The risky part of Luke here is that he has a lot of stuff that can clear Luke, whether that's EPP Forlom to cancel his game text, whether that is Cad Bane to cancel his immunity, whether that is Aura Singh to hit him. He's got a lot, or whether it's a guy with Mandalorian armor, Jodo or Django or Fett, Boba, to play hidden weapons. He's got a lot of potential outs, but I do have an impressive, so I can take the first action and then a sorry. So if he has something like Cad Bane or Forlom, I can go, I'm going first and I'm going to make them lost. He could have imbalanced combo, but I at least have a little bit of protection for Luke. So I draw some, and it's just all gold. I've got like attacking character, a Nabrin, 2 sorries. I can cancel a barrier if he's got one. Like, I know I've got to get through Shizor's bounty, but other than that, Got a lot of good stuff. So he plays Space Cruiser and pulls Mitt and puts Jasper on board. I don't have any answer for that right now. I have no Falcon, anything like that. But so it's a little annoying, but I know I'm just going to be aggressive on the ground for the moment. So I activate and I drop Leia and I drop Jar Jar and I drop Anakin, which he Shizor's bounties. And so I go ahead and battle anyway. Obviously, I do have the 6 ability for Shizor, and I've got Jar Jar that can blow someone up. I've got Leia to shoot, and Anakin will still be left afterwards. So I go ahead and try to Jar Jar, and I draw 5 to his 2. So Jar Jar and Shizor are going to die, and I'm going to get to beat up on the Vigo. So I shoot it, and then I draw a 5 for Destiny. So he has to stack a card and lose the Vigo, and he has a Gick, which I just grab. And the reason why I grab that is he might have 2, so I don't want a second one coming out cheap free. I don't want him playing No Escape for it on his turn, and I don't want him to have the ability to cancel Navern with it. If he does get it back, or if he does have a second one, and because I know I'm going to be Naverning, I know I'm going to be beating him up again using some of these combos and stuff like that. So I go ahead and just grab it. I'm like, you'll probably voyeur ping, you'll probably do stuff like that, but I'm going to go for beatdowns this game, essentially. So he pulls a sight, and he drops out Emperor and P59 so that he can Shadows ping, and I lose the battle planes, and then he consolidates. So I activate. I pay to drain. We get into a fun little sense war. So I pay to drain for 2. He plays a Tarkin's Orders to cancel. I play a Sense to cancel, and he plays a Sense to cancel my Sense, and I'm fine with that. If I draw out his Sense so that I can get my Nabern and my tricks through, like, that's fine. So he does Sense my Sense, but because of Wise Advice, it goes used. So I drain for 2 over there, and then I just draw a few. I draw 3 more characters, so still no space, but plenty of ground attack stuff. He drains for 1 and 1 and drops Reese so that he can Shadows ping for another 1 and consolidates. So he's just basically doing 3 per turn, but I'm draining for 4 per turn, and I'm setting up beatdown stuff. So he Force Lightning used cycle cards. So activate a ton. This time I don't pay to drain. So he's got to be super scared when I pass control with 22 in force pile, and I don't pay to drain. I just drop Qui-Gon, Rey, Hera, and I battle. I swing at P59 and hit him. And then I sorry combo, but he has the imbalance, which is annoying, but expected. He misses the shot on Hera, and I hit Reese, and I get 2 Destiny because Hera is with an Imperial, and he gets a Destiny, which he decides to close call use his own Destiny for some reason, and he has to lose everyone, and I lose Hera, and I draw a few. Did I just lose a card for some reason? Was that just to his drain? Oh, he played Voyeur right there. He played Voyeur, and I had to lose 2 because he picked Wisa. So he drops Emperor and Bosk and Shadow pings. Plays another guy to space. Wolf. I'm tracking something. Oh, I threw people into Clash. So here I go ahead and I drain and I drain and I drain. So I do 6 for drains. And then I Nabarin, Qui-Gon and Rey over. And I drop Ahsoka and I battle and I Clash Emperor. And I hit Bosk, and I attempt a sorry combo again, because I know he doesn't have force for the Gick, but he has imbalance combo again. That would have ended the game if he didn't, but it's okay. Still probably going to peel quite a bit here. So I draw a 1. He draws 3 minus 1 from Ahsoka is 2. So he loses both of them an 8. And I recirculate. He drains for 1. Drops Cad Bane, Shadows pings 1, and moves over. And right now, he didn't grab the Nabron when I played it, so I'm tracking it, and maybe I mistracked? No, maybe I was tracking the Falcon. I don't know. I think I decided to clear him out of space. Yeah, I must have tracked that Falcon because I stopped mid-activation and yeah, mid-activation I 3PO'd and then activated more. So clearly I knew where that Falcon was. Oh, I think maybe from a voyeur I knew what was in my use pile. So I 3PO'd into the Falcon, dropped Lando, and he does do a close call used, but it was on my power destiny. I don't know. Maybe he forgot. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I had a ton of high destiny here. And so I clear out. He has to stack a card to conflict. I clear that out. And so he drains. He drops Afra and P59 and moves over to block. So I drain for 2 and 2, which are now free. And I Jedi Lev Obi, Battle Emperor, and hit him to retrieve with Rey. Then he force pushes out so he doesn't take a bunch of overflow. And then I battle Afra, but now I know he's, can't afford a Gick. I don't have a battle destiny, but that's fine. I'm 5-3. He has to stack a card to conflict and peel 2. So now he just has 3, but I go ahead and just land and so here he concedes. He concedes the match. He had a weird situation. Middle of this game, he messaged in the gem chat and said, "Can we play the second game tonight?" This was Sunday afternoon when we were playing. He said, "Can we play the second game tonight? My older son just tested positive for COVID, and now we need to go get my younger son tested, and my wife's stressing out and whatever. Can we postpone for the next 5 hours or whatever so I can go deal with this and then play tonight?" So he'd sent that pretty early on in the game, and I was like, "Yeah, of course, no problem." And then after this game, I won. When I won by 22, he just decided to concede the match. He was like, the other matchup I think was his no idea versus my map, and he's like, "Yeah, it's too big of an uphill battle." And then to add on the extra stress to my wife and make her more irritated and stuff, it's not worth trying to just play that out when I'm not going to win this match. So he went ahead and just conceded the match to go work on that. So that let's see, we're at about an hour and 20 minutes into this report. We have finished the top 8, or the rounds up through the Elite 8, and now we're on to the top 4. If we go take a look at the bracket, the top 4 was the other in the top 8 after I beat PMJ. Chris Gogolin beat Brian Fred. JNAP beat MHT. And Chris Werfs beat Chris Kelly. So a lot of high seeds getting knocked out there. Chris Kelly was a 1 seed, got knocked out in the round of 8. MHT was a 1 seed, got knocked out in the round of 8, and Brian Fred was a 1 seed, knocked out in the round of 8. So all 4 1 seeds made it to the round of 8, but I was the only 1 seed to advance out of the round of 8. So the next weekend is the top 4. The following weekend, and you could change decks for that, but then it was locked for all the top 4. It was me versus Chris Gogolin, and then Chris Werfs versus JNAP. So let's talk about decks for that. For the top 4. Let's see, here we go. So I decided to play ISB For dark, I was worried about Goglin's throne room. I thought it was quite teched for map. He had Leia's gun that can shoot dudes lost. He had Tantive to go to Starkiller base. I thought it was going to be pretty strong versus map, so I didn't want to stick with map. So I kind of bounced around with a few different ideas and decided to play this ISB. It's a deck that I had played a fair amount in private testing going into Worlds last year, and was going to play it, and then we realized it just lost to Legend, which we expected to be quite popular, and then Legend got errataed. It's not very good anymore, so I went back to this. This is originally a Cryptophist design. Zemowit is a great player and had designed this back last fall, and the idea is, you go Indoor Shield into Piet, and Piet pulls Meragic, and Meragic pulls your Kashik system. You've got Star Destroyers to drain, and Chiranu, of course, to drain you've got two Admiral pulls with Indoor Shield, and you got a couple commands, so you'll get him out. And you drain a bunch in space, and then you drop walkers to your docking base. These two docking bays are just silly in that Lightside's transit is +8 to the blockade, to or from the blockade, and for Indoor, it's 7 from there and +9 to there. So if they're going from the blockade flagship to Indoor, it costs +9 +8, 17 to transfer one way, and to leave Indoor, it's 7 + 8 is 15. So 17 one way, 15 the other way. They can't afford to chase you. So you can basically pile some guys, concede a docking bay, which is a drain of 1, and transit away for free for you. As long as you have an Imperial there, that one's free. And you drain for 2 because of your ISB objective. So you're like, whatever, I just transit away. You can have that docking bay after you've piled there. And then you drain in space. So it's a bit different than some of the other ISBs that does free executor, or ISBs that do the spaceport docking bay or whatever. It uses these 2 docking bays to make transiting prohibitively expensive. And then, a bunch of ISB characters and Masterful for Gick and Monarch. I decided to run both decrees. Gogolin sometimes plays EBO, and having decree to stop EBO's drain bonuses is big. I also thought versus something like Prophet, if I can control 2 systems and a battleground site or a planet site, I can shut off lightsaber bonuses. Ditto against Throne Room. So Decree is good against Prophet and WAP, the virtual decree. So this deck did take a hit after the round of erratas. Stalker got worse. Justice got worse. It was running double Justice. Now it just has 1 sand because it's unique, and only stacks 2. So it took some hits due to erratas, but nothing too big. It was still it's still quite a strong deck. Jonas is a weak card, but Death Squadron pulls him along with Ozzel, your Stalker, and your Vengeance, and your Markwind and Blizzard 6. So it was just another ISB agent who's pullable with that. Other than that, pretty standard. I don't know. For light side, I ran Watch Your Step. I thought it matches okay against map. Gogolin the weekend before had run, I don't remember at this point. I was worried about JNAP or Werf's run in Black Sun, but so I tilted it a little bit towards that with like double projection and some ground evasion stuff like It's a Trap and double Blastador Kid. The idea was just get Luke down and then just avoid battles and do space drains and damage. So it's got a lot of ground evasion with double Blastador Kid, dodge, It's a Trap, barrier, and then double projection. And Gogolin sometimes plays Hunt Down. I figured it's good against Hunt Down. I figured it's decent against map. I couldn't stick with There Is Good in Him because Gogolin could play Hunt Down. And JNAP on the other side of the bracket also has played Hunt Down quite a bit in the past. And so I didn't want to play There's Good in Him again and have someone just roll Hunt Down and crush me. So I switched over to Watch Your Step, which is obviously good against Hunt Down, but it's just a fairly balanced deck that's pretty solid against a lot of stuff. Scum can be tough. Black Sun can be tough, but it's balanced and pretty solid. So that's what I ran for light. Is there anything in here particularly of note? I mentioned the ground evasion. It's got one celebration. It's got fades to shut down drain bonuses. This card, I kept bouncing back and forth between the Lando puller and the Han puller. Where's Han? And in the end, I went with this one because I decided I wanted to try and Quetzal run a little bit faster. And mainly because I had that double Blastador kid. I wanted to double movings. I wanted to have Lando available for swaps. So I went with this, but it's really close because you usually want Han out to Quetzal run. So they're both Destiny 4 character pullers. And then the offense is you've got Luke with Saber and Run Luke Run and a Sari and a Clash, which all can be played from Lost Pile, the Run Luke Run, the Sari, and the Clash. So if you top deck one or you get a chance to use it twice. So you can get kind of offensive with Luke as needed. So that was my light side. I am playing Gogolin first, and I don't know what he is playing for either side, but let's see what I opted to start with. I started with Dark Side, with ISB, because I thought if he's doing Throne Room, I can just win game one, and I didn't put him on changing from Throne Room. I can win game one and then see how the Watch Your Step goes. So he gets Wisa Puller, which is a bummer for me. I don't like seeing Throne Room get activation. And he pulls Farm. Luckily, he did not have Speak yet. So I play a Docking Bay from him, pull a Docking Bay, use Indoor Shield, and I get Piet, Meragic. I don't have the force to deploy it. Also, I go ahead and play him in case he has a Spy. And draw a few. He goes Docking Bay, and then he goes Ray. Plays a Saber on her, uses her to draw, and just draws some. So he's just setting up Drain. Because he knows with ISB, I'm gonna, and with as soon as you see Piet pull Meragic, which he did, he knows I'm playing other systems that I'm gonna drain more at, most likely Kashyyyk and or Indoor. So he knows I'm gonna have space drains, and he wants to just set up some ground drains early. So I again pull a Docking Bay, I drop Meragic and pull Kashyyyk, and I play Decree V, just in case he goes like Spy, Clash a dude, Sorry a dude, and I have a solo dude, I can still get a Destiny to not get overflowed. So he drains 2, and I top deck Vader and Vandalay. And then he just draws up to 12. So I use Masterful Combo to get Image. And I drop Virgins, Callus. I take the Shuttle. I drop Evax on board. That's going to flip me. And I drop the Sand card to limit Destinies. And pass my turn. So he drains. Drops Luke. All right. So right now, if you look at it, I am at 34 hand in life, and he is ahead by 12 hand in life right now. So he's just deployed so much less. He's threatening 4 damage to my 2 damage, 1 retrieval. So he's out damaging me, and he's up by 12. He's not threatening 4 because damage. He's threatening 3, but not ideal with how far behind I am right now. He can afford to pay to drain. So I get out my Docking Bay. I don't have what do you call it? I don't have a walker for guys. I go ahead and play my Decree, and I drop the Shuttle with Emperor, and I play Tarkin so that I can draw some more cards into hand, and then I just transit a bunch of dudes. I went ahead and did the Emperor Shuttle so that I can just Tarkin draw some, and So I would prefer a walker, obviously, but I didn't have that. So now I've at least got set up drains of 2, 2, and retrieve 1 versus his 2 and 1. So I'm okay here, but if you look at the hand and life situation, I am at 25 to his a lot. Let's see. He's up by 19 hand and life right here. So I need to out damage him by 19 just to fight to a draw. So some stuff's gonna have to change here. He drops Jin, which obviously is not good. Now he's out damaging me and way ahead in hand and life. He grabs command, but I do pull Chiranu with it. So I deploy Chiranu and I ship dock evacs over and I move Vengeance over. I also played Decree non-V and then transit over, and now I control 2 systems and a planet site. So now he can't use this saber to drain, or this saber, which he deployed last turn. So now he's got 2 sabers out that are doing nothing, and Image is shutting this down. So now he's doing 2 and I'm retrieving 1. Now it's better. I'm only net losing 1 as long as I have an ISB agent in Lost, and I'm draining for 2, 4, 6. So I'm threatening 6. So that's a net of 5 versus him. That's better. But I'm still way behind hand and life. Right now he's at 40 hand and life. And I am at 24. Yeah, 24 to 40. So I'm down 16. So I'm feeling a little bit of pressure, especially for a deck that I expected and thought I should be winning this. He gets out his JCC, and I just cycle, and I can't shake him, and he just draws a bunch. And so he needs to deal with the fact that I am now out damaging. So I drain 2 and 2 and 2. Yeah. So he loses a Speak, a Ray, a Luke, a Clash. I think I can handle myself, which obviously that drain bonus would be canceled with Decree, and a Cassian. And then I decide to go wide. I've got the Gick in hand, so I'm like, hey, I don't want you messing with these drains, which are allowing me to do Decree and letting me drain for 6 right now. So I'm going to force you to deal with her as a threat and just waste a character there. And then I drop Mara and move her in. So now I just went super wide. I'm like, okay, like I'm already doing 6. Now I'm threatening 10. And you're going to have to deal with those 2 threats. So he pays to drain for 2 once again. And did he? Oh, maybe not. What just happened? Oh, I thought when the site lit up, he was paying to drain, but the site lit up because he was checking his destinies with the battle plane. So he activated. He did not pay to drain for 2. He decides he needs to try and take me off of a site. If he can get me off a battleground site, then I have to pay for my drains, and his lightsaber bonuses kick in, etc. So he decides to come down with a weapon and 2 destinies. But he activated it all, so he doesn't have... But he drops Corrin to block a drain, and he moves Luke in. So he's not eating ground drains, but he's still eating 4 in space, and I'm retrieving 1. I don't think I have any ISB guys right now to retrieve, but... so I check my destinies. I drain 2 and 2. And then I was checking my destinies so I could trample. So I trample Chewie and got it. One reason I didn't want to... I could have dropped to here and trampled Jin and transited everyone away. One reason I didn't want to is I'd give him up another drain here of 1, and his lightsaber bonuses would kick in because this is not a planet site. So I was like, I'm just going to keep taking this out. And then now I just load up everybody. I put Tarkin and 2 agents on board so Tarkin can get his cancel even if he shoots with Leia's gun. And hits and uses Sorry combo to hit Blizzard 2, I can just cancel it with Tarkin, unless he also has a See You Around kid. So, and then I put Kerr. He has to be present, so I put him out in case he has. So, and I just draw a few. I am at 13 now in my life force. with 8 in hand. He's down to 8 in hand, but he's down to 15. So now I'm only down by 2. I've caught up over the last few turns by draining 4 in space, and before that 6 in space and ground. Getting that 10 damage through did a big catch up because he did a round of no damage last turn. So that was big for me catching up. And now, and then of course he deployed Corrin, Chewie, Solo, Leia, her gun. So he deployed 5 cards and he ate 10 drains. I was down by about 15, and now I'm down by, or 17. Now I'm down by like 2. So we're very close now. And he checks his reserve. He breaks Jin's cover. He drops a Tanev and a Poe and a Bale. So he's gonna get 3 Destiny up there. He plays he battles with Corrin. Because he wants to clear the ice art, I guess, but that was a bad move because then she just goes to my loss pile and I get an extra retrieval with my objective. But instead, I just close call his Destiny, so now I'm immune, and I draw 3 and he's not immune. So now I'm gonna get to drain 3 there because of that close call. But even if he had cleared her, I just retrieve it with my objective. So I don't know why he battled there. I don't know what the thought was, but. Anyway, I only got to drain a 2 now, but he's draining... Well, now Decree isn't kicked in because I don't control 2 systems. I would have to drop Stalker or Steadfast here, and then I could control 2 systems to shut that off. But I don't remember what I do here. So I check Destinies with Emperor. I drop a Walker and pull him off. And I drop Jonas. Again, I still have a Gick, and he's down to 4 cards in hand. So now I'm like, I can go wide here, and you probably can't deal with... If you can deal with Jonas and I have to Gick it, I've still got Isard doing 3. So first I battle Solo and Leia, and I draw 1. He doesn't have a Destiny to fire, so he also draws a 1 that I cancel. So now I'm just going to clear out both of them. Then I'm going to just consolidate my ships. He's going to get to drain here. I won't have Decree. Looks like we have a revert. I don't know what. Uh-oh, did that break the game? It did. Let me try real quick to load that up. Get back to where we were and see if we can get past that. So he was very far ahead super early, just in terms of hand and life force count, by whatever it was, like 17. He had just deployed so little, and he had done early damage, and I had done no damage, and I had deployed a lot. But then via Decree non-V, I was able to shut out, and Image of a Dark Lord, I was able to shut out 1 damage, 1 source of damage. The other one was the Naboo battle planes. He got through a few times, but that was only a drain of 2, and I was retrieving 1 with the objective. So I was basically able to shut out a ton of his damage and then start my own damage in space. And that's what let me get back into the game, is being a slow but steady tortoise. Yeah. No problem, Chris. I don't know if you were here earlier when I did our games, but I'll have that replay, of course, on Twitch, but then over on YouTube. I was stressing about your Dark Jedi presence beatdowns, but yeah, that Watch Your Step game just went so wrong for you. It was tough to come back in that match. So yeah, I get down to 3 cards in hand, so I can draw 3 with Tarkin. Lets me get out all my stuff. Drew a bunch of red, which was not helpful, but... Oh, I top decked Monarch at one point, so he does draw up quite a bit 1 turn. A little bit from here. I just got up. I'll give it a watch. Cool. Well, the reason why I'm not commentating this, if you literally just got in here, a replay revert broke the replay, so I'm fast forwarding, hoping to get past that hiccup. Sometimes when replays break, they'll work later. Like you can subsequently fast forward past that and it'll keep going. But sometimes they're just broken. I don't know. I wonder if the new interface, you can just jump. I know that has a slider to where you can jump to points in replays. I wonder if you can jump past unbroken replays. Do you know that? Yeah, you start time as excuse. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good match. Yeah, so this is the turn where I just went wide. I was like, you can't. I'm doing 6, and he had just drawn up a bunch. He was above 12, but this was a turn. I was like, I got the gick. I got a close call. I'm just gonna go to double non-battlegrounds and put too many threats out for him to deal with. And yeah, he had to activate it all, so he couldn't battle, so that he could deal with 2. Oh, he could deal with those 3, but then I'm still got space. And so I go ahead and trample that Chewy. He played See Around Kid there, so I couldn't Tarkin, so I couldn't battle him and cancel his Leia shot and stuff. So that's I didn't battle because I probably would have battled any otherwise. But he did play See Around Kid. He had to play it preemptively. You've never had a replay freeze on the new UI? Well, I did, but Eric identified an issue and fixed it. Okay. Well, maybe I'll load up the new UI if it freezes again. So he does this battle, which I mentioned is sort of inexplicable. Obviously, I had the close call, but even if not, and he breaks your immunity, it's just a card for me to retrieve with the objective. Should just stalemated it. So I drain 2 and 3, and go ahead and drop Jonas out. Battle. I don't battle Luke because I don't have enough destinies, but now I got enough power. I'm just blocking that drain. This drain is going to be back at 1 because I don't have Decree in effect now that I'm not controlling 2 systems. So he'll be able to drain 1, but I'm retrieving that with my objective. I transit over. Here we have the revert. Let's see what happens. Nope, it broke. Well, that's what's going on? Let's see. This is the replay link. Which part is it? Just a part after the $ or something? I don't know how the new GUI works. It's like new GUI.html, I think. Let's see if that works. Ooh, loading screen. That's a good sign. Jeez, I don't know my password. Give me a sec. All right. History. Gogolin. This one. Watch. All right, let's see how this works. My fan on my computer just kicked in, and this suddenly just froze. So I don't know how my computer is gonna like this new GUI. I may have to enable or disable hardware accelerator or something. One of the other. Let's see. It doesn't the whole screen. Yeah, my computer's struggling. I'm probably gonna be dropping frames here on the stream. If I pause, will it give it a second to load? do. I just like that, like I can see all the cards in my hand. I think there's a way to just display straight instead of hand layout. This foil effect. Heck yes. Disable hover. No. Quality. Or below. So hopefully I'm eating my computer so much. And lower FPS also. Okay. Okay. This is not right. Where? Go back to the old beat for this game. Just broke. Go with a lag and what does it keep jumping back to the turn 3? Okay, let's take it. No, it just jumped back to play turn 1. Jump it, pause it. Okay, well, it's not working. Jump forward and play jumps back. Yeah, let's just jump to my turn 1. It's super fast too. This is 1x speed. We're already on turn 5. Oh, maybe it has to load all the way through to that turn 8. Is that what happens? Is that how this works? Did it just blank again? I don't know what's going on. Let's wait. Let's see. Good? What's going on? Okay, Chin's cover. This was a while ago. Alright, is it play now then? Or what? How do we go faster? There we go. Oh boy, it's laggy. Are we gone? Wait, like I can't tell if it's doing something. It looks pretty. Mostly just want to finish out so that we can see my differential because that's relevant for game 2 match play. Or yeah, it looks like when you jump forward in a replay, it has to read the whole thing. Which, sure, that's fine, but I just want it to start playing after it catches up. Didn't seem like it was, but maybe it will now. We have a lot of cards showing on why all these cards, what they're all doing. Obi and consequential barriers, Moff Gideon. There's a target and an OB. Okay. Okay, I think we're back where we need to be. It looks like I consolidate. So now he's completely out of damage. Except, well, they will drain one because Decree is not going to be in effect since I'm controlling two systems. So the lightsaber will kick back into effect. But I can read that with my objective. So right now he's basically locked out of damage by me popping in front of him in space, by me moving everyone over in front of Jen, and I'm like, and the stuff in front of Luke. I'm like, okay, you drain one with Raise Retrieve, and I'm threatening a drain 5 at your JCD and throne room. All right, so now I do a docking bay transit. This is just very slow. All right, so I've got and climbs off the walker. Magic climbs off the walker. I think this is where we had the revert. I probably just, like moved guys in the wrong direction, order or something. I just all. All right, revert. Just point. See what the board looks like. Just revert. Hey, the little thought of this like locations land. Cool. I imagine you had like a computer that handles streaming and this be at the same time. You guys would be enjoying this. It's a little jittery as it is. What difference do we see here? Everything's still in the same place. Puzzle. I reported before the puzzle disembark. Or something. Okay. So now puzzle disembarks. We're back to where we were. And then I move Mara. Oh, I think I had accidentally hit pass after disembarking all. I passed into draw. I was like, whoops, I like didn't mean to pass. It was clicking all the like embark, disembark, blah blah blah. So I moved Mara in. And go to retrieve SB agent. There are none. So now I'm saying threatening drains a bunch of non-battle rounds. Gideon can soak up a Luke attack. Ray's gonna get drained through. I'm gonna retrieve. Well, I'll probably maybe lose Van from hand and retrieve effective, or maybe I'm just like content to win by what I have. But I'm at 12 hand and life right now, or I'm at 12 life right now. He's at 12 also. I'm at 5 in hand, his 4 in hand, but I'm obviously taking way more damage. So, all right, we got back up. Took a while. And I went from down 17 or 19 hand in life to I'm up by 1 hand in life and threatening way more damage. So he activates. Slowly activates 1, 2, 3, 4. doesn't go much longer because this is 3 times speed. 5. And I jump ahead, but it takes so long to jump ahead. Does this go any faster than 3? If I click it, is it going to go back to 1? To 7 activated. This is rough. I think I'm dropping frames stream too. Yeah. Oh yeah. Skip frames so much. 100%, 23%, 100%, 25%. All right. So I don't know if you guys are seeing stuff anymore. Jeez. He's up to 11 activated. It's just activated 1 by 1. Let's see if GIMP can disable hardware acceleration or use hardware acceleration when available. Let's try it. Because that was not, we weren't going to be able to finish that game. So this seems to be going better. Actually interesting. Oh yeah, this is way better. Okay. Okay, let's see. It's not showing on the stream anymore, so let's fix that. Where are my replays? History. Okay, that was just a hardware acceleration, and it has a big warning on there. Enable hardware acceleration, and I wasn't sure if it was on or not. Apparently it was not. I know hardware acceleration has a conflict with streaming, and you're actually supposed to disable it for streaming, but the new GUI wants you to enable it, so there's sort of a conflict of interest there. But clearly that was unusable without it. All right. So here we go. Let's go to Goglins activate. Turn 9. Okay. Here, he activates at a normal speed. He drains with Rey and her lightsaber, and I just lose Stalker from hand. He plays Jedi Lev and takes Yoda. Who he deploys to face Isart. And he battles. He is 6 to my 2. I get to take a card off a sand. I take a used interrupt so that I can up my diff, because I'm at 12 right now. He probably should have just drawn up already, because now I'm going to get that used interrupt and I'm going to get to retrieve Isard. So we both draw Destiny. I lose her. And he's going to relocate Yoda over to be with Jyn so she doesn't get beat up. And he moves Tanif. But now I'm going to get to drain 2 in space and 2... oh, just 1 here. I didn't have an extra ISB agent. And I wanted both of these ISB agents with Tarkin to be able to cancel the Destiny. So I'm just going to drain for 2 and 1. But I'm also going to get 2 and 2 here. So 2, 4, 6, 7. It's pretty brutal. So I Death Squadron. Nothing there. And now I'm up to 13. Then I activate Force Drain 2 in space, 2 at Boss Nest Chambers, 2 at the throne room, 1 at the docking bay. Then I go ahead and just consolidate. All I'm doing is losing. I get to retrieve an ISB agent, and I pay the 1 upkeep. And so I'm like, I'm at 14, and he drains for 1. I lose Vandalay, and now he just draws up. Because on my turn, I would retrieve Vandalay, and I just keep up in the diff. I went from 12 to 14 because I was able to play that used interrupt by drawing it off of sand. If he had not played Yoda, whoa, I don't know what I hit there. Oh, control. If he had not played Yoda, I would have, and just drawn up, I would have won by 12. But by playing Yoda, he let me grab the used interrupt off sand, killed the Ice Art, who I then retrieved. It gave me 2 extra diff, so that's always nice in match play. So I win by 14. All right, let's go back to the regular Jump and go to Googling game 2. All right, back on track. We had a little bit of a setback. Hopefully you guys just sped through that. So game 2, I'm playing the Watcher Step we went over earlier. He is playing Set Your Course, which I know is really good against Watcher Step. He'll have a lot of space stuff to attack with Baron's guns and spins and Fett and ship and stuff. And he plays Maul, who's really good too for adding, subtracting from destinies and stuff. So I'm a little worried about this, but I just need to get him down below 14. So I pull Corellia and the farm, and I play the sand card. And this was awful. When I checked my reserve, I had Outrider in force pile, and I had Han in force pile. And I was like, I can draw into either match. If I draw like Outrider, next turn I can grab Dash. If I do Han, next turn I can grab Falcon. As long as I don't stack both Dash and Falcon, then I'll have space next turn. I'll be able to do stuff. And I was like, out of 31 cards, if I stack one of them, I'm okay. Just don't stack those 2 out of 31. Like, I literally thought that before I played Sand. And I played Sand anyway to get cards out of my hand, not because I figured he probably has Monarch. I don't want to go above 12, and I want to play that so I can draw 1 extra. And then I stacked both of those, and I was just like, I'm out. See, there's the Outrider, there's the Han. And I knew Pulsar Skate was in my force. So like I looked for all my matches right when I pulled the Lars farm, and I was like, okay, cool. I know Pulsar Skate's in there. Mirax was in hand, so I couldn't match up with that. I'm like, okay, but I got that match, and then I'm like, okay, I've got Han in force pile, and I've got Outrider in force pile, and as long as I don't stack Falcon and Dash, I'll have plenty of space. And then I did, and I stacked both, and that's when I went, oh man, I'm so screwed. And so then I was like, well, if he has Monarch, I just have to draw a bunch because that's useless, and I was like, I need to get stuff going, so I just drew a bunch. So he gets out Emperor, and just draws a bunch himself. I'm not doing anything. He decides I'm probably not playing Grimtosh. He just sets up a battleground site. I don't know why Emperor didn't go to Cantina. Maybe he was worried about Luke Rebel Scout and a lightsaber. But with my Master Luke or Last Jedi and Run Luke Run or something. But it turns out Gogolin was playing a lot less ground than like Kyle's Set Your Course typically has like EPP Kylo and maybe EPP Mara and has some fighting power on the ground. Gogolin had none, but I didn't know that, and so I was anticipating a lot more ground. Later on, when he plays a ton of space and he plays Vader in his ship and all this stuff, then I was like, oh, to fit in all that space, he doesn't have much ground at all. But early on, I thought he could have a decent amount of ground. But he probably shouldn't have played Emperor because then I can just battle into Emperor and take a card off Sand. But I didn't do that. I decided I was worried about his cannons, so I used Tunnel Vision to get out Theron Net so that he couldn't shoot me down. Forgetting, of course, Maul says opponent may not cancel your Destiny draws, and Theron Net cancels a weapon Destiny. Just drawn weapon Destiny. So Maul says I can't cancel that. So he drops Onyx, which pulls a gun, drops Onyx 2, and he battles. He plays All Wings to be immune just in case he misses the shot, but he then pays 3. I don't know why, because he actually shouldn't miss the shot. He can add 3, and Maul can add 1. He's going to get a +4, and it is actually maneuver extra with wedge, I believe. Yeah, it's +2. So okay, he could theoretically miss. So, but he doesn't. He blows up the whole thing, and that's when I realized, oh shoot, Theron Net does nothing, and Outrider has its pilot stacked, Falcon is stacked, and now Pulsar Skate is stacked. I'm out of ships, and this is really bad. Between the sand and that gun, whoops. So I do Walkling to retrieve. He should have had Coward out. That was a mistake by him. But I Walkling to retrieve the Pulsar Skate, and I spin to grab it. But he has a sense, and I am not flipped. So he senses the spin. So that's rough. I drop Obi, I drop Val and Lando and to flip, and I get a use pile pull. I get Chewie, and I use pile pull again to get Luke, and then I just consolidate a little bit. I have a dodge in case he attacks the Obi, but he drains, and I peel, or I lose from hand, and he drops another ship. So he's happy. He just wants to do a bunch of damage. Plays battle order. And I do go ahead and drain 2. I need to get him down in life force below 14. I go ahead and pay to drain 1 also. I drop Luke, and I use Pal Pull the Saber, and I'm like, I'm just going to start drain trading. I don't have any, what can I do? I can't go to space. So it could be worse. Since he has already grabbed both tunnel and spin, I'm hoping I can just... Oh, I can't loop that with Mirax because she's dead from getting shot down. But maybe I can Obi swap for Mirax and loop that and just drain. It's going to be really expensive to do all this, but I don't have a ton of options right now. So now he drops Vader and ship and Merrick Steel, and I'm like, that's a lot of space cards to fit with all power and those, and I'm sure Baron is in there, and so I'm like, if you've got that much space cards, you probably don't have much on the ground. I realize that at this point, but obviously I didn't spread earlier. But I go ahead and just pay to drain for 2 and pay to drain for 2. And then I go ahead and just drop out this awesome combo of Han and Elors on the Outrider. I'm worried about him having another gun, but to go with Baron, but there's not much I can do if he does. So he activates, he's draining for free also, keep in mind, but so he drains 2, 2, and 2. So I'm just losing cards fast. He drops a U3PO. And then he moves the Death Star slightly closer so that he can move between if he needs or whatever. So I drain for 2 and 1 and 1. I am draining for free now. I attempt a sorry U3PO, but he has a force field virtual in hand, which he can use to cancel targeting of a permanent weapon. So that's why it was not with Luke. And I just draw some. Get a tunnel. Luckily, tunnel's grabbed with that, so I can lose it from hand. I can, and then I can play it from lost to cancel a drain for free. So apparently, I'd move the Outrider in front of him. Oh, yeah. So what my thinking was here was I can't afford, I calculated the math, and I was like, he is at 16 right now, and I'm just not doing enough damage. If I'm eating 6, I need to stop that. So I moved in front of his weakest system and hoped he didn't have another cannon, and of course he did. I was hoping he was only playing 1 copy, and he had 2 copies, so he shoots down my Outrider, and I'm sad. I still don't get a chance to sand pull because we don't get that far in the battle. He gets the first action and he shoots me down, lost immediately. However, I think, I guess maybe I didn't need to move the Falcon. Maybe I shouldn't have. But he had Outrider, or he had the gun anyway. He could have just come down on me down there. So I think that's what I had decided, is that basically if he has the gun, he's going to shoot me either way. And if he doesn't have the gun, I can block the drain. So that's what I did. But he calculates here that I'm going to be able to get him down far enough because I did make him deploy 3 more cards due to that. So he lands. And I go ahead and... what just happened there? Why did I lose Outrider from used pile? Oh, I retrieved He's the Best Smuggler around, or I played He's the Best Smuggler around. Outrider was already the top of lost pile, I guess. And yeah, Outrider was shot in that battle. So I attempt to sorry about the mess you 3PO and get him. And so then I pay to drain 2 and 2. And now he is at exactly 14, same amount I was at. But he drains for 6 here. I can control from lost pile one of them. And then control another one from hand. He battles, and I run the grunt over. And I'm going to swing and hit Tarkin. And I get to sand a card finally. That will help me stay alive a little longer. I draw that it could be worse. He's left with just Fett. And he lands. The problem is he needs to block both the Cantina and that, because right now he's at exactly 14 and we would be going to lost piles if I can get any damage through. And then he transits Emperor over. So he's blocked all my damage, but I have a clash in hand. So I clash Fett and I battle and I hit. And he has no cards in hand, so he has no Gick. So I sand. He uses something special, but that just gives me 3 controls back. Retrieves him a ship, but he has to peel 5, and I move Luke. So he's going to drain 2, 4, 6, 7, but now I have... he's down to 10 total hand in life. Oh, the client's also pinging 1 he deployed at some point. So I just draw up. He is at 9 and 1 in hand. So I win the match. The thing that it all just went horribly wrong for me with those cannons, and then with me forgetting that Maul stops Theranet. My 1 cannon protection. This version does not have any few maneuvers or anything like that. So I used an early tunnel vision that he grabbed on Theranet that did nothing. So whoops. And then he shot down all my stuff. But I was able to just drain enough on the ground, just keep paying to drain on the ground to get him down. So he only won by 9. Which is pretty interesting. It's a pretty anti-Watcher step deck. But even when everything went right for him, or most everything, is still only won by 9. So I advanced to the finals. I am playing JNAP, who beat Chris Werfs in their match. And I know from seeing the lobby that JNAP is playing Indoor Ops Flip, or at least Indoor Ops. And that's pretty bad for Watcher Step. So I opt to play ISB first. The thought is if I can get out both the Krees, if I can get a Walker out to Tatooine, get out both the Krees, if I cap his profit damage to 1, shut off his lightsaber bonuses, and drain -1, I can shut out his damage like I did to Gogolin earlier, and then I can just drain in space. And he might have a landing claw, but I'll retrieve with my objective, his 1 profit damage, and I'll just out damage him a bunch. So that's the theory. Play some docking bays from hand, drop Piet, pull Marijic, who will pull my system, and establish to pull a system. And then I go ahead and just move over because I'm like, if he wants to come at me, that's fine. Like I already have my systems. I already was kind of trying to bait him a little bit, so then I could just go over to the indoor docking bay or whatever. So I go ahead and drain. He doesn't bother pulling a shield for it because he's going to get to retrieve with his objective. I go Walker with Moff Gideon and a Trooper, and that lets me flip. And then I do Masterful for Monarch and play it used, which he grabs. So sets him back a turn. But now he is going to play Underworld, and then he's just going to drop a bunch again. So now that Monarch has happened, he's just draws up to, let's see how many he draws, 19 cards. So I'm like, well, that's not great. I opt not to pay to drain for 2 and 2, or this one would be 3, I guess, because it's got the Trooper and an ISB agent, but I want to set up my space. So I drop Stalker. Colonel Wolf's going to give me some extra force, and then I drop Chiranu, and then I drop Tarkin, who's going to let me draw more cards, and I disembark so I can use Tarkin's text, and then I draw some more. So right now, I'm pretty happy with my setup. Like, he's got 19 cards in hand and 16 force, and he's going to get the profit retrieval, but I'm set up to drain 3, 2, and 3, so I'm set up to drain 8, and I'm pretty solid at each site. This site's a little fragile, but I have a Gick, so I'm pretty happy with this setup right now. I'm feeling good. He gets out Rey and Saber, and Alea. She's going to get to cancel a drain. And then he gets a Rose, a Y-Wing, and a Landing Claw. So he was just drawing into like everything he needed. And and then he got a use pile pull from Leia. Now he's going to get a Chewie use pile pull. So essentially Leia's going to get to cancel 2 drains. He's going to get to block this space drain. I'm only getting this one through. And he's got retrieval now. He satisfies Coward because of the Landing Claw. So he's going to get Rey retrieval and Rose retrieval. He's going to get profit ping and drain. Like, he's set up really well. I went from like, yeah, I'm looking good, I'm feeling good, to like, oh, that was a really good turn for him. So I drained 3 at the Lars farm. He does not cancel with Leia because he's going to get to retrieve 5 in a minute, and he only had 1 in his lost pile. So he goes ahead and drains a 5 to save the Leia cancel. Risky if I had Tarkin's Order bounty or something, but I didn't. So I pile some more. I go to, and I spread out a little bit. Basically, I'm trying to put out too many threats that he can deal with. He doesn't have any locations for me to go wide to, besides these Tatooine sites. But I'm like, if I can, he's blocking my space drain. If I can threaten a drain at 2 to 4, because Vader and a Trooper are there and an ISB agent, and 2, then make him deal with a lot of those threats. But I'm very weak at my docking bays. So he activates Landing Claw, flips, pings 1 with profit, or retrieves 5 when he flips, pings 1 with profit, drains 1 with the lightsaber. Soon it will be 2 because Underworld will protect him from the ISB once he has 2 aliens, and now he does. He has an alien, so now that's going to be a drain of 2, ping a 1, and retrieve 2. So just from this one site plus the Landing Claw is blocking a drain of 3, and he's doing 3, retrieving 2. So he's doing 5 at that site plus blocking 3. Is pretty annoying. But he just draws more. He draws up to 17 again. So he drops Jar Jar, does his damage retrieve, drops Jar Jar, and draws up to 17 again. So I use Masterful and pull Image, which is going to be useless against his Underworld, but if he spreads, he's not going to have 2 aliens everywhere. So, and I already have Gick, and Monarch was already grabbed. So I drain 2 and 2. I grab it, could be worse. He Leia cancels a drain. And I opt not to drain again because on the top of his deck is Harksef, non-V. I didn't want Leia putting that back and him 3POing into it, because if he just drops her at the audience chamber, then he can just reduce a drain every turn. That'll save him 2 force every turn. It's like a permanent, it could be worse. So I did not want him getting that back. He has no Walkling. Of course, he can Rose and that sort of stuff, but I didn't want him immediately getting that and having access to it and stuff. So I play a ship so that I can start getting more space drains in, and I just draw some. So Oh, and I was banking on him not having Grimtosh, so I decided to risk it and go above 12, and he did have the Grimtosh, and that was a big setback. That's annoying. But I go ahead and draw some more too. And so he breaks cover. He does his drain 2, ping 1, retrieve 2. Maybe he only retrieves 1 with Rose. Yeah, he opts not to use Ray at the moment. And he drops Luke and Saber, and he's going to get to clear this out. Oh, he uses Clash. Draws a 3. And I'm going to go ahead and lose Marigic in 1. Then he plays a gift so that he can eventually move over and just block a drain as an undercover spy. Even though I have no aliens, it'll let him block a drain. So now he uses Leia. Second Leia, she's all done. On the farm, I drain 2. And he plays a Changing the Odds to play something out of play. I drop Blizzard 4 and Callus. I play Surface D for a Decree that was in there, and he senses it, which is annoying. I battled here hoping to outpower him and forcing him to lose Luke or Peel 6. Hoping he didn't have like a Sorry combo or something. But he did, and that means that plan was awful. And so I draw the Decree I was hoping to get. It was a Decree non-V, which wouldn't have helped anyway with the Saber right now because the Landing Claw Y-Wing would have stopped me from controlling an extra battle or an extra system. However, I would have just dropped a ship to Coruscant by deploying 1 ship. I shut off that lightsaber bonus for the rest of the game and Luke's lightsaber bonus too. So I was hoping to get that out, but I did not, and I can't find the other Decree. So I lose Blizzard 4. I make him peel 5, but Luke survives. Obviously, if Callus had survived 2, he would have had to peel 9, so he probably loses Luke. But that did not work. So he moves over 3PO and blocks another drain. So now he's got multiple undercover things. He's doing more profit damage. He's draining 2 and 2. And doing 2 profit damage and retrieving 2. So he's just like way ahead now. It's not looking good at all. And it's his turn, so he's going to have the... he uses both Ray and Rose. He reattaches. Now he comes down with Din and Lando. And he goes to Lando exclude, which he does successfully. And then he just crushes Kerr, who's going to eat a Gick for 4. And he gets to retrieve with Din. He puts... he does leave him lost, but he gets to retrieve 1 with Din. And now I'm left like... I'm doing... now he has ultimatum, so I'm doing 2 and 2. He is doing, if I move Ozzel to a non-battleground docking bay, he's doing 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 3 profit is 8. He's doing 8 and retrieving 2 to my 4. So, not ideal. But I drop Ice Art so I can break cover to do a little more damage. And I just run away with Ozzel. And draw a few. Still, I find the non-V Decree. I still don't have Virtual Decree. I don't think I've top decked it yet. Should have probably Tarkin's Bountied that turn. But he does 8 here. And I'm just trying to get some damage through. He'll Rose and Ray to retrieve 2. Reattach. And I drain, and he uses a tunnel. I drain, or use a control. I get in 2, 2, 2. One of them cancel with control. I retrieve with my objective and end my turn. So we're just trading diff. does a bunch more damage. I have he retrieves with Rose and Ray. I am left with exactly 1 force, so I can get in 1 more round of damage. He of course moves out to block because he knows any damage will kill me next turn, or any 2 if I retrieve with my objective. But obviously I'm gonna draw up before Rose and Ray can retrieve 2 more for him in his control phase. So I get him down to 12, and with the way that game was going, I'm happy with that. Once he kicked me off the docking bays and he was doing 3 profit damage every turn and stuff, it was rough. Just him being able to draw up 3 times, the first time I monarched and the next 2 times draw up to 19 and then 17, he just got everything he needed to just deal with me. And that Y-Wing landing claw was annoying. The Leia canceling drains twice was annoying, and then just clearing me off those docking bays so I wasn't getting that much damage through. So he wins by 12, and I know I'm in for an uphill battle against indoor ops, but I need to win by 13 plus. So we are now going into the last game. Let's take a look at it. All right, so I am Watch Your Step. He is doing indoor ops. It is 3 effect, not TTO. He's obviously going to pull Fondor. He's got combat response to get his matching ships. So he pulls some docking bays and Fondor and indoor shield, and he plays Ominous, so I can't just deploy a guy to stop that. He's going to want to be flipping. I don't have a spy to go to the bunker, so I can't stop Establish from coming down. So my only hope to stop the flip, so I could still draw multiple destiny, is to come down with a guy to the docking bay early, but he just turn 1's Ominous, so doesn't have to worry about that. Indoor ops, when it's flipped, says opponent draws no more than 1 battle destiny in each battle. So my 2 smugglers on the ground only ever draw 1, and in space I can spin around it, but I will run out of spins. So projection won't do much typically against him. He's going to be a very space heavy deck, and all he needs to do is not lose by 13. So I activate, pull my Corellia, pull my farm. So here I make a risky play. I have dodge, so maybe not crazy risky, but if he has EPP Maul or something, this is not a good play. However, at this point, I think I'm disadvantaged in the matchup. I think this deck is built to beat Watcher Step. I think he was anticipating Worf's playing Watcher Step, and so he built an indoor ops that beats Watcher Step. So I think I'm at disadvantage in this particular game, and I'm already down 12 in the match, and so I've got to make some risky plays. And I figured that he isn't playing a lot of ground. He's probably got a fair amount of space in the deck. He's playing like Sidious. He's probably got Emperor. Emperor can't deploy to me, but he's probably got Lord Sidious. He's probably got some Mauls and stuff, but not a ton of ground. And so I'm like, I need to just start getting some damage. Let's go. So I drop her, and then I draw. I save 1 for dodge in case he has Draw Their Fire. But so he drops Ozzel. He flips. He drops Black 2, which will stop spin there. And Vader, and he moves Ozzel up. So now he's set up at indoor, and he drops out Battle Plan. I activate. I use Tunnel Vision. I opt to pay 3 to drain, and he loses Emperor. He top decks 2 Emperors off a reserve. Apparently 1 was foil and 1 was not. I search with Squadron Assignment. I search Pulsar Skate, and I'm going to grab Wedge here. Unfortunately, Mirak's not in there. Wedge, though, is good for +2 maneuver. I think I'm anticipating him having Baron's Guns. I top deck Luke Saber, which is a bummer, and he gets Image. So he's going to stop some drains there at the Cantina, or reduce that Cantina drain. So I'm that's not good for me. So I go ahead and I tunnel from Lost Pile, and I grab Luke. I drain for 1/1. I Walkling retrieve Luke's saber so that I can get Luke and pull the saber from used with I must be allowed to speak. Stack a control and a Luke, and I play a Lando. I do have Run Luke Run in hand, not just bluffing it. So if he attacks either one, I can Run Luke Run some protection over. And then I draw into a barrier, Blessed Orchid, Outrider. Here's the key moment of the game and probably the match. When I searched with how'd I check my reserve that turn? When I used Tunnel Vision. I used Tunnel Vision to pull the Luke. And then I deployed him and used pile, pulled the saber. So I knew everything in my force pile and I knew everything in my used pile because the only force I used was Luke and then Lando. I used pile pulled when I did Lando. So I knew everything in my used pile. I knew everything in my force. I knew in my force was a Han and a dash. And when I used force for Luke and then Lando and I used pull, I saw neither Han nor dash in my used pile. So I was like, both of those are in force. I need to draw and get Han and dash. Because the Falcon was still... the Falcon was in my used pile, but I believe. But pulling it wouldn't have helped because Han would just be stuck in my force. If I left them stuck at the bottom of my force, I couldn't flash Outrider next turn. If I got the Falcon, I couldn't flash for Han. If they were both stuck at the bottom of my force, basically I was screwed. So I drew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I was at like 8 and I was drawing 4. Maybe I was at 10 and I was drawing a couple, but I was basically like, I need to draw Han and dash. I can't have them stuck at the bottom of my force. And I drew no Han and dash. So I just had to go above 12. So I drew, and finally I got Han and dash as the bottom 2 of the 3. And so then I passed my draw phase. But I'm at 16 force, or 16 in hand, and he uses force push. And I know he's force pushing for a Monarch. And I'm just like, I'm already so behind in the match that a big used Monarch setback would be awful. So he force pushes, and I'm like, crap, he's grabbing Monarch. I just know it. And then the next card he plays is Monarch. And I'm just like, oh no, like that's probably match right there, because if just a bunch of this goes used and then he can go attack, take over space, like it was awful. And then like my cards weren't going used and I was so confused. I was like, what just happened? And I looked at the game chat and it showed that he played Monarch Lost, and I was like, oh. And he saw my hand and there were no duplicates. And then he was like, he typed in the chat, like, oh no, that might have been a match losing decision. And I was like, yeah, because he got greedy. He was hoping he would hit some doubles. He was hoping he'd hit like 2 control tunnels and like 2 spins or something. And because if he can get rid of spins and I'm capped at destinies, like that's really good for him in space. And so he was hoping to get lucky and hit some doubles. But he should have just taken the huge setback, cut me from 16 cards down to 8. But now, because he paid 4, and I'm left with Dash and Outrider, I've got Han and I think Falcon. I would have drawn if Falcon was the last card too. So Falcon was either in my reserve last turn or it was in my use pile there. But now I'm left with like tons of space. I got my barrier and evasion. I've still got Kessel. Like I've got, lots of options, and he did nothing. And so he was like, oh, that sucked. Like he was not super happy about that. So he pays to drain, and I lose, a spare Luke and a Blasted Orchid, because I figure I can play that from Lost Pile if I need to, but so he drops Baron and Gun over to Indoor, and he drops Maul and moves him out. So now he's draining for 5 for free, but I'm draining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for free also. And I'm like, I'm just matching damage. The problem is I need to win by 13. However, I do have a lot of damage out. He just needs to get me down below 12. So I do drain 5. Attacking Maul is an option, but with all the space I have in hand, it's probably not the best option. So I go ahead and play Projection, and I play Kessel, and I drop a Kessel Run, because I'm like, if I can retrieve 4, that will help, negate 1 round of damage, and I can set up some more drains. So I drop Outrider with Dash, and I also I drop Elors on board to give it more power, and I Kessel Run, put a card used, and just draw a few. Still wondering where the Falcon is. So he drains 2, and I control it, and then he drains 2, and I peel 2. I don't figure I'm going to take over Tatooine for Celebration soon. I'm hoping he doesn't have a second gun, but I don't know if he does or not, so I barrier that ship, and then he moves Baron in, and I go ahead and take a card off Kessel Run. So he couldn't let me have that drain of 3, so but luckily I had the barrier in case he had a second gun. I don't think he ended up playing a second gun the way Gogolin did, but so here I control from Lost, and I grab the Falcon, and I drain for 5 again. And I go ahead and I drop Han on the Falcon because I want to just finish up the Kessel Run this turn in my move phase. And I forget again, even though it just happened 2 games ago, that Maul stops Theron. But for some reason, I'm thinking like getting Theron in hand is going to be good because I can stop the gun. But that doesn't work that way with Maul out. So I dropped Han. I was hoping he didn't have a barrier because then I would just finish the Kessel Run and move both of them away and just start running around in space. But he did have the barrier, so I do have to stick around. And I grab it. And I go ahead and drop Talon card, but then I decide not to. I'm like, no, can I not do that right after deploying him? He's like, yeah, no problem. So I revert that, and then I take Theron into hand. I finish the Kessel Run. I pay 4 to retrieve, and I go ahead and I run the Outrider away because I'm like, if he attacks Han, he's probably not going to get a lot of overflow in. Han is forfeit 7, Falcon 7, that's 14. They're power 5, that covers 19, and I get a Destiny. I don't have enough ability, but I completed a Kessel Run. So I cover 19 and a Destiny, and he's 11 and 2 Destinies. I'm like, even if he drops another ship or a lateral or something, like I can probably absorb that okay, and I don't want... I mean, if I leave the Outrider, it'll just immediately get shot. So I do run away there. And he plays a few maneuvers, or dark maneuvers, to track a 6. So he attacks, and he does decide to just shoot at Lost, rather than if I had drawn a Destiny and cleared some stuff. So, and that's why I moved the Outrider. If he does decide to shoot at Lost, it's fine with me. The battle's over. So he splits up ships. He moves to block a drain. But again, I'm still doing 5 damage. And Kira's going to ping now too. So now it's 6. And I'm at 18 cards still. So I drop Talon, who's going to make them all insane forfeit. And I just draw some more. And I draw into an It Could Be Worse, which is huge. Especially... I don't have Mirrex out, but It Could Be Worse a couple. And he grabs that. And he looks like he skipped his deploy. He wanted to check his reserve. He does, so we revert. I'm capped at 1 Destiny anyway, so I use Sand to cap him as well. He's only at 1 Destiny, but it stops Vader from making it -4. So I do Sand, and I'm going to spin... I'm moving to make me totally immune, and then I make Vader's shuttle power 0. He spins. He's only getting 1 Destiny, but he spins. That way it makes it a 6, maybe 5. He spins for a 5. And looks like I didn't even bother to spin because I'm immune. I'm outpowering him while I lose another card. So I just draw my one destiny, and he has to lose Ozzel and one. He loses a Gick. And then I activate and he concedes. He's at 8, and I'm about to do, with Kira's damage, 6. He'll be left with 2, and I'm at 14 right now. He had won by 12. I'm at 14 and 9 in hand. So really I'm at 23. He needs to make me lose 10 cards before I make him lose 2 more. Obviously is not going to happen. Yeah, that used Monarch choosing to play it lost instead of used set him back so much. And then his build not having any ground to threaten me, I was just able to spread a bunch on the ground, stay alive in space, so then I'm just out damaging him, and he had to kind of chase in space, so he's not doing as much. I have a lot of damage mitigation between the multiple controls, it could be worse, the Kessel Run retrieve for 4, the Walkling retrieve. So yeah, I just ended up being able to do a lot more damage and absorb a lot of his damage, and then set up really well because he didn't make the right Monarch choice. So I win that match as well. And it's funny. I lost a lot of games this weekend, or those over the 2 weekends. I lost. I went 1-1 against Gogolin. I went 1-1 against JNAP. I went 1-1 against Yoshi, Sam. I went 1-1 against Chris Hull, Joker King. I went 1-0 against PMJ because he conceded the match after the first game. But otherwise, I just went 1-1 every time. I just had enough differential to keep advancing. My win percentage was barely above 500 over the course of the weekend, or the course of the event. But being able to just win by enough or lose by enough, was able to win all my matches and win the event. Huge props to my teammates for all their help. Zimowit coming up with that ISB deck that I played in the top 4, and help from Hayes and Phil and card choices for like the Watcher Step, and then an Eric for playtesting. And my one game, I played one game between the 2 weekends. Here's all the here was the first weekend of MPC, and then I went on vacation, and then here's the second weekend MPC. There was just one game that I played in between. The day before, right before deck lists were due, and I had him just load up Gogolin's throne room, and I played ISB, and we just played. Eric played one test game for me, and went, yep, game plan seems solid. Let's do it. Submitted the list. So thanks to my teammates for all their help. Successful event. Was able to walk away with the win. I am looking forward to. JNF just commented in the chat, this game was my only loss during my 10 NPC games. So JNAP went 9-1, and I went, let's see, Sam, Chris Hull, Gogolin, JNAP. So that's 8. So I went 4-4, and then I beat PMJ. He conceded the match. So I went 5-4, and he went 9-1, but I was able to win because match play, just all that matters is can you squeak out the edge over the course of the 2 games. That's an impressive run, Jared, because if you had won this game, or if I had conceded it because you were going to win the match so that you got the game win, going 10-0 would have been a very impressive. Even 9-1 is very impressive. So I'm very much looking forward to getting to play in person again. There is supposed to be a new set coming out in the next month or so, to give light side some more help. There is Nationals. The next in-person tournament will be tentatively for the weekend of July 17th. So I'm 100% going to that.